there and turn her down the rocky road and all the way to Dublin, whack the lolly-ra. We're talking about Jack O'Connell today. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your BFF Snowy Oreo 663 here, right now. And I have absolutely no excuse to this other than the fact that I'm severely autistic and my hyperfixation kind of took over everything. So, Jack O'Connell, have you ever heard of him? No? Well, I'm about to tell you how you most definitely have. You ever seen Sinners? Yeah, he's Remmick.
Sure.
Have you seen 28 Years Later? Yeah, he's Sir Jimmy Crystal.
F***ing go.
Have you seen Skins? Well, he's James Cook.
I'm not f***ing you.
Take a wild f***ing guess what it's gonna cut to after he says that.
Have you seen SAS Rogue Heroes? Well, he's Patty Main. Have you seen Eden Lake because of that horrifying ending? Yeah, he's the antagonist in that. Have you seen Unbroken, directed by Angelina Jolie? Yeah, he's the main character in that. You've probably heard of Jack O'Connell, or at least seen something that he's been in. Okay, so before we get too much farther, I quickly want to give a very, very brief, summary of who this guy is, because I did realize that I'm probably the only one who actually knows a lot of this, so just trust me on this, okay? Jack O'Connell was born on August 1st, 1990, and his mother was English and his father was Irish. Don't worry, this isn't going to be like a Wikipedia article or anything. He had a bit of a rough childhood. He had like a juvenile record and most often struggled with alcohol and fighting. Jack said he blames his environment for this, but that's his words, not mine. Anyway, he really wanted to get into acting. He would audition for just about anything he could and would sometimes be forced to sleep on the benches outside of the audition place since he spent all of his money on the bus fares, so, you know, dedication. He's usually typecast as like the delinquent since that's kind of what he was. His dad died when he was a teen, and this led him down a much darker path. His alcoholism ramped up and fights became more common. He did get cast as James Cook in Skins, which did put his face out there in the acting world. I find that most people know him from this, but except for me, because I live under a rock. He got recognition as an actor for his role in a film called Start Up, which showed off his acting chops. He wasn't able to go to the US due to his juvenile record, so he was only able to work in Hollywood after getting a temporary visa. His first film there was a sequel to 300, which apparently everyone hated working on because of the physical demands. Things changed when he caught the eye of Angelina Jolie, who was adamant that he star in her film about war veteran Louis Zamperini. Jack personally attributes his recovery from alcohol to her, saying that she was what brought him out of that terrible rut of partying nonstop. He got a ton of recognition for his role in her film Unbroken. From there, he was cast in a much wider variety of roles, aside from just being a delinquent. He'd be in romantic roles, unsung hero roles, kind people in terrible situation roles, and that is what leads us to today, when he played a funny little vampire in Sinners and I fell head over heels. Anyway, back to the video, I guess. Why did this random guy show up on my radar? Well, it's because of Sinners. I became so infatuated with this movie, and especially with the hot Irish vampire, that I desperately needed everybody to know about it. So I became horrifically obsessed, and I decided that I would watch his entire filmography. Yeah, that's kind of it. That's the whole intro. So here's the sitch. I am going to be ranking every single one of his films, limited series, mini-series, and shorts that are on Letterboxd. So if you go to Letterboxd and go to his list of movies, and then you sort them by newest, and then you add some filters, because we're doing some filters here. We are filtering out movies that are not out yet, because why the hell would they be out yet? We're also removing documentaries, because I can't really rank like a making of movie next to like the movie it is, because that would be stupid. Which, side note, does remove the short documentary Lennon or McCartney, which I did watch because I was stupid and didn't realize that I couldn't exactly rank that. Lennon or McCartney is just 550 celebrities being asked the titular question. Jack says
Lennon.
John Lennon immediately, and then that's it. This is stupid. And finally, the last thing that we are removing from this lineup are the two shorts that have to do with Skins, because I have not seen Skins, so it'd be really stupid if I watch the shorts that have to do with that, because let's get real. So that leaves us with 38 films. He is going to be in the next 28 Years Later film, The Bone Temple, soon, as well as the new Godzilla vs. Kong. So I'm hopefully going to get you guys hyped up for that, and I will make a Letterboxd ranking of all of these movies, so you can check in with that after this video comes up. So here we go. We are going to go through every single one of his films, shorts, miniseries, and limited series that list on Letterboxd. If it's not on Letterboxd, I'm not counting it. Go away. Let's go in order. Let's learn a little bit about each one and what it is, and then at the very end, I will give my full breakdown ranking. So if you just want to hear my ranking, go to that point on the screen. Oh, and also this will contain spoilers for like all of the movies, but I assume you knew that. So here we go.
Jesus letterbox.
Okay, welcome to the movie Place of Pain. This is where we'll be spending the next several months as I went through this and watched every single one of these. Now, before we get started, we have got a couple more things that I'm going to implement because I'm very stupid. The first thing is that we're going to play a little bit of a drinking game together because I've noticed a pattern with a lot of his films. There are 3 things that appear in a lot of these movies, and you are going to take a shot every time this thing happens. Preferably not with alcohol because you will maybe die. I'm gonna drink soda because I don't drink alcohol, but I do have a shot glass. So yeah, I'm genuinely gonna take a shot every time we do this. Okay, so this is just proof that I'm doing this. I've never actually poured a shot before. I had to make sure my friends told me how much alcohol or you're supposed to put in this case, soda. Alright, that seems pretty daunting, but anyway, bottoms up. Wait, how do you drink this whole thing in one sit? Wait. Okay, so this is actually, you're supposed to drink, stop barking. You're supposed to drink all of this in one shot. I don't know if I can do that, but I promise you that every time I say I'm taking a shot, I'm gonna finish this whole glass of soda. So let's see how much soda I end up drinking. And one last thing for you guys is that whenever I drink a lot of soda, I kind of act drunk. I don't know why, I just find everything really funny and my words start slurring. But I promise you, this is just soda. There is no alcohol happening here. I am above age, but I don't drink alcohol, so... The first thing is if he wears suspenders. Does he wear suspenders at one point in the film? Take a shot. The next thing we're going to take a shot for is if he has a shitty American accent. Later on in his career, he does manage to get a hand of the American accent. I mean, he is British, but for starters, his accent is so bad. It's so bad, guys. And finally, the one that might kill a lot of you is we're going to take a shot if Jack O'Connell is in a sex scene. Not if he's naked, just if he's having a sex scene done. I'm asexual, so I definitely didn't like seeing that. Anyway.
What was sort of the most challenging scene that you had to do? Which one do you find the most
You've
challenging?
all seen what, Willie?
And lastly, this is something that is only for me, and I don't really know where it came from, but here we are regardless. I made a promise to one of my friends at the time that after every single bad Jack O'Connell movie, like the movie f***ing sucked balls, I would watch Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules in its entirety. And if you don't believe me, you're welcome to check out my letterbox. I did log every single time that I did after a bad movie. So I can assure you, I kept up my end of the bargain, and I will let you know which films I ended up watching Roderick Rules to cleanse my palate for. This has nothing to do with Jack O'Connell, literally nothing. I just thought it was funny. So, we are ready to start then.
Go.
Okie dokie, so today we are starting with This Is England from 2006. This is Jack O'Connell's first ever film. It was actually before Skins as well, so he's a brand newbie. I don't know hardly anything about this other than some reviewers that I truly admire rated this super high. So here's hoping that it's halfway decent. All right, here we go. So, fun fact, in Jack's first ever film, he plays a skinhead. Great. I knew literally nothing about this movie when I started watching. No idea of plot, characters, story, message, nothing. And I think that's what made it hit a lot harder, the fact that I knew nothing. We follow the story of 12-year-old Sean, a boy living in the 1980s England. He ends up finding some friends and a few older skinheads, and one member of the group begins to split the group apart as he brings his racist and Nazi-like ideas forward. Sean almost feels like a father-son connection to this member, which leads him down a very dark path. Okay, so my dumb ass didn't know anything about the Falkland War going on during the time that this film mentions. I only knew about that adorable little wolf thing that went extinct there, but after an extensive research session, and by that I mean I read the Wikipedia article, I am now the biggest expert on the subject. I mostly just read the article while some of the slower moments were happening, but to be fair, this film very rarely didn't hold my attention. 15-year-old Jack O'Connell makes his film debut as Pukey Nichols. What the f is that? He plays one of the skinhead goons who at first goes along with the intense beliefs, but ends up leaving when things get too extreme. But to be fair, the film isn't about him. He's barely in it, and good f***ing riddance, Jack. Those suspenders are not gonna say anything about this look. Take a shot. I was not prepared for how intense this movie gets. Violence, language, even some sexual implications with this very young boy. It's a tense experience. A really great piece of filmmaking that shows how quickly a slippery slope can lead to disaster. The gradual increase of violence and intensity is expertly handled. I could feel my stress rising after each minute rolled by. It's also apparently based on the director's personal experience, which, yeah, checks out. This is clearly a very personal film. I would for sure recommend, unless you're just here to see Baby Jack, which I would warn you beforehand to be disappointed. But don't worry, we just started on this list after all. Cool, so I'm chronically depressed. All right, anyway, next up we have a short, also from 2006, and it's called Black Dog. I don't know anything about this. It's for free on YouTube, so here's hoping it's good.
What?
Okay, so this was Jack's first ever short film. Baby 16-year-old Jack is tasked with taking this prostitute to his creepy-ass grandpa's house. On the way, they get attacked by a dog, which Jack slices its leg off with his shitty knife. At the grandpa's house, Jack stops the guy from getting weird with the lady, only to find out that his peepaw's arm is missing. The dog paw he was carrying turns into his grandpa's arm. Jack stabs him to death and then burns his body while a bunch of people dressed in black crowd around to watch him. Huh? Apparently this was meant to be a take on Little Red Riding Hood, and okay, yeah, I can see that. I'm very dumb, I didn't pick up on that honestly for the first time. With that context in mind, it's okay, I guess. Pretty middle of the road. It's only 14 minutes, and the effects are actually pretty impressive for the film of this little budget. Acting could be better, but whatever. I honestly have nothing else to say, just a fine little short with a lot of potential that could have been made a little more clear. My brain's kind of feeling fuzzy, but that's fine. Let's move on to the next one. A horror film from 2008 called Eden Lake. I have actually heard of this movie. It was on some top 10 horror lists, and once I tell you about the movie, I think you'll understand why. So I did have this spoiled for me before I went in, but I haven't actually seen the whole thing. So I'm excited for some gore, I'm excited for some scares, and let's get in. What is it with Jack's earlier films and having him just play like the worst character? Eden Lake is the story of this couple going to vacation in the titular location. When they cross paths with a bunch of rowdy teenagers who start to get violent, the husband accidentally stabs and kills their dog in self-defense. This starts a mad chase for the teens to kill the couple. For the most part, this is just standard shock value horror, not really much to write home about. It's very gruesome, over the top, but the effects and gore are impressive. You instantly hate Jack's character Brett for being a little shit, and he's a great evil psychopath. The movie is pretty miserable, but I know that's the intended effect, kind of like Terrifier in a way. Well, that's what it sets out to do. There's just very little enjoyment to get overall for the average moviegoer. There's plenty of horror films that are still enjoyable, whether the protagonist is a strong character you want to fight for, or the killer's just iconic. Maybe the tone is goofy and campy, so it gets a laugh out of you even in the intense scenes. But Eden Lake is only a pile of misery. And fuck it, we're gonna have to discuss that ending. The only reason this movie gets a higher edge is because of that ending. Because god damn, it is bleak and brilliant. Just as our heroine seems to have escaped and made it to safety, it's revealed that she stumbled into the home of the parents of her attacker. The father believes his son without another word, and our protagonist is unceremoniously killed by the adults while the villain is left to go to his room, a sinister look in his eye. God damn, that is a great ending to this. Super intense, and it makes this otherwise kind of average movie something more unique. Jack is great at playing evil characters, goddammit. Okay, I am feeling not as fuzzy, but definitely kind of sad about that ending. That's fine. Let's go to the next movie. It is a short from 2009 called Wayfaring Stranger, with one of the most boring posters I think I've ever seen in my entire life, which is like saying something. But it's 10 minutes long, and let's see how it is. Maybe I'm just not a short film enjoyer. This 10-minute short has barely comprehensible audio and music that blares way too loud at times. Jack plays a kid named Bobby who's just getting out of prison, I think. His dad comes to pick him up, and his dad has no plan for where they're going next after he loses his house. At the bar his dad's performing at, Bobby gets on stage and tells the crowd how lame his dad is before leaving the bar and stealing his dad's car. The end. I get that it's about leaving behind those who are bringing you down, but like, it's just done so poorly. Okay, so that sucked. I guess by that logic, I gotta take a quick break and watch all of Roderick Rules for some reason. So let me go do that. I'll be right back.
Do you know about the D-O-R-E? The door.
The next one is a mini-series from 2009 called Wuthering Heights. This is based on the Emily Bronte novel, I think, and there's like 500 adaptations of this story. This is the one with Tom Hardy, and it is for free on YouTube, but it was in 480p and with Spanish subtitles that I couldn't turn off, so that was really annoying. Jack is not billed very highly on this, so he's probably a background character. Only one way to find out, so let's go. Why do I do this to myself? From my understanding, this is a love story. This rich family takes in an orphan child who falls in love with his adopted sister. Sure. And hijinks ensue. Societal expectations, desires for jealousy, deaths, and pregnancies make this just so boring. I'm sorry, but these are some of the least likable characters in a love story I've seen. For being a miniseries, it has a runtime of a little over 2 hours, and boy howdy do you feel every second of it. It's supposed to be a forbidden love story, which I usually enjoy, but when the characters constantly act so mean to each other and blame everyone but themselves for their problems, I just get bored. Where's Jack in this? Well, he plays a boy that gives a letter to one of our main characters. That's it, he's on screen for less than 2 minutes, what a waste. I get that the story is a very popular one, and apparently this adaptation is quite beloved, but I just cannot get into it. I have no idea what half the characters' relationships are to each other. I'm pretty sure the main character ends up marrying her cousin at the end. I was watching the clock like crazy for this one. It may have been only 2 hours, but it felt like 5. If I have to give it any credit, I say that the performances are good. The costuming is wonderful, and the sets are lively. From a technical standpoint, it's decent. From everything else, it's hot ass. Okay, fine. You know what? All right, let me pull up Roderick Rules again. Hang on.
What was General Grant doing on the thermostat?
Harry Brown from 2009. This has Sir Michael Caine in the title role, so that sounds like it'll be pretty cool. I don't know hardly anything, and this looks to be an action movie, which is generally one of my least favorite genres, but that's fine. Willing to give it a try? Let's go. Hi, Alfred. Okay, so the story of this one is basically that Michael Caine is an ex-military old guy whose best friend gets killed by a bunch of rowdy teenagers. After the police do nothing about it, he decides to take matters into his own hands. I actually ended up really enjoying this one. Seeing this old fart get the upper hand on some of the worst people was really enjoyable, and you believe everything that he's able to do. It's not like Indiana Jones 5, where this guy was way too goddamn ancient to do most of the stunts. Harry as a character could have been a little bit more fleshed out, but I think it's more about the action and revenge than it is about character development. Our boy Jackie once again plays a rowdy teenager. However, this time, he's clearly the black sheep of the bunch. His character Marky is an abused boy in all forms, who quickly rats out the rest of his crazy friends as the perpetrators of the killing. Harry then uses him as a human shield when trying to attack their leader, and he's dead. Well, thing is, even without my personal bias, Jack's character to me was the most interesting in the film. He's clearly not wanting to do anything with this crowd. He's being assaulted and pushed around, and just all around seems to be a victim of circumstance. Too bad he gets unceremoniously killed off. He should have lived. It was cool seeing a handful of Game of Thrones actors in here, and many had very interesting turns to their characters. This movie also features a plot twist, which I won't really spoil here, not because I'm begging you to check it out, but just because I don't really have anything to say about it. Caught me off guard, I suppose. Overall, a good flick for some action and revenge, but not much else to offer beyond that. Okay, Jack was unjustly killed. That made me kind of sad, but you know what? The movie was fine. Next up, we have a miniseries from 2010 called Dive. This is also for free on YouTube under a Russian title for some reason. I don't know. Jack is the male lead in this. Apparently, it is a love story, so let's hope that we get yearning Jack O'Connell because we haven't had that yet, and that makes me very sad. British Lifetime TV, basically. Dive is a 2-part miniseries where we follow teenager Lindsay as she dreams to participate in the diving Olympics. All this changes when she meets up with Robert, played by our boy, and the two hook up. Poor shot, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, we have reached our first ever Jack O'Connell scene. Ugh. Anyways, despite just having said in the class the day prior, they aren't careful and she ends up getting pregnant, of course. The rest of the story is just the two of them navigating this challenge of teenage parenthood together. See, the thing is, I didn't actually mind this one all that much. It's far too long, yes. And the fact that they only seem to have one backing track that's just a 10-second loop of these violins did make me want to tear my hair out. Aside from that, I was invested fine. Robert, despite being obviously scared, was very good at preparing for the new arrival. He managed to get a home for them, did some research about specific pillows to make her more comfortable, and was just overall very supportive of her choices. They even banged again. Take a shot. And he defended her against his shitty dad. Things kind of crashed off a hill in the third act of part 2. Lindsay decides that after the baby is born, she wants to go back to diving, which for some reason pisses Robert off. I genuinely have no idea why this irritates him so much, but it leads to a big fight, and he goes off and cheats on her with her best friend. God damn it, take a shot. Now I hate his bitch ass and him crying over her leaving, and the next scene makes me feel nothing.
No, they're not bad people, Linz. I'm not a bad person.
Nobody gives a shit.
Which sucks because after she has the baby, they seem to do well together. But I'm sorry, you can't come back from a cheating plot. There's no way to save that relationship. Again, it's pretty decent until then. There's obvious problems and it isn't groundbreaking, but I don't know. Maybe I'm a sap for romances where the characters aren't bland cutouts. And I would be so much more invested if that needless conflict didn't introduce itself. But then again, the story was too long as is, and I started to shift into boredom as nothing really happened to the couple until the last part. I wanted story conflict, but not a slap in the face of an unlikable character. But hey, it's not bad enough to make me watch Roderick Rules, so there's that. Okay, no instance of Roderick Rules this time. I'm standing my ground as we move on to another short film. This is The Hardest Part from 2010. It is one of his least reviewed films, so it's pretty obscure, but I did find it pretty easily on the internet for free. So here we go. Hey, your first short that I actually enjoyed. Victor Perkins is an actor who got famous for playing a role in an old TV show, and he's been down on his luck ever since then. He goes to audition for an action film and gives it his all, only to realize they want him for an unnamed character who dies. The director brings him into his office and fawns over him for his old role before ditching him. While walking home, a young Jack O'Connell attempts to rob him, to which Victor takes the upper hand and delivers the lines of the character he was auditioning for, scaring off the mugger and leaving Victor in a better mood. I know it's not super deep, but I did honestly really like this one. I felt the pain for Victor not being able to be taken seriously. I imagine plenty of actors who have been known for one thing have been in his shoes, and him managing to prove, at least to himself and the mugger, that he still had the chops to act tough was quite uplifting. Don't get mad at me, but I enjoyed this more than a lot of other movies in this marathon. Okay, that was actually decent. Next up, we have a film from 2011 called United, and Jack O'Connell is front and center on the poster. This is a sport movie, I think. I don't know. I don't know hardly anything about sports. He rocks a blonde look in this movie, it seems. Not so sure about that one, Chief. Oh, and also I found this movie for free on YouTube. You just gotta, dig a little bit. So, here we go. I don't know anything about football. United is based on the true story of the Manchester United football team in 1958, where the team were doing incredibly well but ended up in a plane crash that killed most of the members. I will admit that I don't know anything about the real-life event that took place, so I can't comment on this movie's accuracy. I can't say we have David Tennant and Finnick in this movie, so there's that. Yes, I know his name is Sam, but he's Finnick to me. Jack plays Bobby Carlton. Bobby whatever, our sort of main character. He's new to the team and one of the only members to actually survive virtually unscathed. He rocks a very unique look for this movie, and for once he's allowed to show off all of his acting props with multiple different emotions. He does a really good job in this one. I know it seems silly, but I give props to films that let their male characters openly weep. Not just cry, but seriously start bawling. I don't know why it hits me so much, maybe because it's not done a lot. The film itself does drag occasionally. The build up to the plane crash is almost ridiculous with how long they spend building up to it. They get on the plane, they get off, they get on again, discuss what it would be like to crash, start switching seats in case it does crash. For crying out loud, we know what happens. The film opens with a flash forward of the crash. We're aware. Interestingly enough, aside from the very brief training shots and B-roll footage played on TVs, we actually never see them play football in this movie. Kind of ironic. Lastly, I want to talk about that ending. Very similarly to the film The Hill, which I reviewed a few years ago, which is currently my favorite review I've ever made, this film really leans into the inspiration factor. The ending shows the team come together with the remaining players, ready for the tournament. Their coach reminisces about everyone who was lost, and they walk proudly into the light, ready to play. Only for text to appear that basically goes, they didn't even score a single point, LMAO, they lost. I mean, it's accurate, I suppose, but it's just kind of funny of how abrupt it is. Overall, it's decent. Okay, so that one was actually pretty good, and I don't really mind blonde Jack O'Connell. Okay, next up we have our first limited series called The Runaway from 2011, and he's got black hair in this one, which I have some thoughts. This will be good. Oh, Jesus Christ, not this one. Okay, mini-series time. So this is a story about step-siblings Kathy and Eamon and how they fall in love. Ew. Despite her being 14 and him 18, ew. They still make out and he even forces himself on her while she cries. This is the worst shot I have ever taken. Ugh. See, the problem with that scene is it's never addressed again. Kathy still claims she loves him, and there's never any mention of him being a supreme twat for doing it. The rest of the story follows them as they are forced apart by violence. Eamon ends up with this other chick that he bangs. Take a shot, please. And a second time. Motherfucker. And he works for the mob for a while before killing his girl in a fit of rage. Then he joins a terrorist group. Fantastic. What's Kathy up to? Well, she gets rescued by Alan Cumming, who plays the only good character in this steaming pile of shit. His character's name is Desiree, and I cannot get confirmation if they're just a cross-dresser or if they're actually meant to be trans, so I'll just use they, them when I discuss them. So Desiree adopts Kathy until she's 18, which Eamon comes back and he bangs Kathy. Take a shot. Ugh. Kathy gets pregnant and decides to convince this other dude that it was his. Eamon tries to get Desiree to convince Kathy to run away with him, and when they say no, Eamon basically physically assaults them while calling them slurs. Our love interest, everyone. 5 years later, Kathy has her stupid kid and her now husband overdoses because he finds out the kid isn't his. Eamon tries to convince her again to run away with him, and he gets protection from the government while double-crossing the terrorists. After she marries him and they bang again, ugh. She tells him no and leaves, to which the cafe he was in blows up and he dies. Holy fuck.
How intense do you need to be? Is this necessary? This is just watch a teenager get abused the series, bro. Gotta love a romance story where the minors are sexualized and everyone is a terrible person. This show blows ass. I had a little fun at the start. BC he was hot as f, but now I just hate his character with a burning passion. I like the crossdresser lady, but literally everyone else is a piece of shit. I hate this stupid fucking romance. Y'all are awful people. Ugly ass sideburns, what are you doing? I fucking hate these people so much. My god. I hope all of them aside from the trans lady and the child dies. I hope you all get thrown in a volcano. One episode left, then I am free from this fuck-ass abysmal experience. Jack's character just died. Yay. Fucking hell, man. That show sucks so much ass. Good fucking god.
This was miserable. It's never-ending misery with the most unlikable characters I have ever seen. Jack looks ridiculously hot in this movie, but like that couldn't save his character from being the king of all cunts. Kathy doesn't fare much better. She screws over Desiree despite everything they did for her. She pushes away everyone who cares about her because she wants to bang her stepbrother so bad. I hate this goddamn series so much, and I hope it explodes along with Eamon.
Break me off a piece of that, Kit Kat bar.
That was the worst fucking TV show I have ever seen in my entire life. Give me Roderick Rules immediately.
I got a good one. Somebody farted.
Where were we? Right. Next thing. We have a movie from 2011 called The Weekender. Smiley face on the cover, and I don't know anything about this movie. It's one of his lower rated ones, so not super high hopes, but let's maybe not make me watch Roderick Rules again, because I would prefer to watch something else. Here we go. Weekender is a movie that exists. Okay, so dumbasses Matt and Dylan decide they want to start promoting raves in the 1990s, and the story follows them as their parties get bigger and bigger. Along the way, love blossoms, drugs are taken, and debts are racked up. Some pinhead basically forces his way into the group and demands a large payment from Dylan for whatever reason. I'll be honest, I was struggling to pay attention. And Matt considers ditching his friends so he can walk away unscathed. The thing is, this movie is pretty short, and because of that, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's not good, but I don't get angry or impatient. Just my usual ADHD brain fuzz around some of the slower parts. I don't particularly care for any of the characters, but I didn't hate them either. I was only rooting for Jack's character Dylan because, well, it's Jack O'Connell. His character is drug addicted and in it for the high life, while Matt is more of the calm and laid back type, just trying to earn a living. I guess their dynamic was cool, but for the most part, I couldn't force myself to care.
Exploded diaper all over the place.
I suppose the ending was interesting, which only got me invested in the last 10 minutes or so. Matt tricks Dylan into meeting with the bad guy and turning him over, along with the money owed. But it turns out that Matt was playing 4D chess and actually tricked the bad guy with the fake money and sicking their bouncer on him. This allows Dylan to walk away safely and the squad can live peacefully. Okay. Genuinely, this one didn't have any strong emotions one way or the other. Maybe because I sat through enough schlock, but I can't fault it for anything. Except the use of Dutch angles. You know when the camera's tilted? It's tilted more than it isn't in this damn thing. Was the cameraman missing a leg? What is this? Overall, just kind of a whatever movie. Inoffensive, but has nothing of note to offer. Okay, so now we're filming at a Dutch angle. Just kidding, I wouldn't do that to you guys. Okay, next up is a film called The Somnambulists from 2012. And before we get into this one, I have a little rant to share with you all. So this is Jack O'Connell's least reviewed film on Letterboxd, and I thought it was maybe just because like, oh, you know, it's kind of indie, it's like obscure or whatever. You don't understand how obscure this is. Here's the sitch. This is not available anywhere. It's not on streaming, it's not on YouTube to rent, it's not on Amazon to rent, it's not anywhere to rent or buy. And so you know what I had to do after finding that out? I had to sail the 7 seas. And also there was nothing out there in pirate territory. Perfectly legal activities happening here. So my next course of action was to look on Amazon selling, and there was somebody who was selling a DVD copy that would take a whole month to arrive. To be fair, it only cost like $6. It was a secondhand seller. I waited a month for it to arrive, and as soon as it did, I forgot the fact that this was made in the UK and therefore is region locked, so I could not play the DVD. God damn it! My next course of action was to have my dad buy me a region-free DVD player for my birthday present, so I was able to watch this movie on a region-free DVD player. But yeah, I actually managed to get this one. I was considering skipping it, but, you know, it ended up all working out. So, let's see if this movie was worth the headache. Here we go. Was it worth all the effort to get? I don't know, maybe. So this is a really hard one to describe, and I'm sorry for the footage, y'all. I could only get a recording of my phone on some scenes when I watched on my DVD player. This is essentially a collection of well-acted monologues about different soldiers' stories in the Iraq War. You know those scenes in films where they want to highlight someone's acting? The camera focuses on their face as it slowly zooms in. The sounds of their story play muffled in the back as the actor goes through different emotions with their eyes looking wild and they take long, dramatic pauses. Well, this movie is that for 96 minutes of about 15 different people, with their face hovering in a black void. Again, for 96 minutes. My ass has terrible ADHD, and while yes, the stories are heartbreaking, traumatic, or just captivating, I cannot bring myself to focus.
The men never drag their heels.
This guy kind of looks like Ben Stiller, Christian Bale, and Tom Cruise all had a love child.
I'm not saying they weren't terrified, but they did their best to hide it.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I could get into the first 2 or so minutes of the story and then zone out until the actor started really picking up steam in the last few minutes. That being said, the performances here are really good, like really good. All of the characters have this otherworldly feel to them. Regardless of the tone of their overall story, each one feels lost between worlds, which is the intention. It's implied that all these soldiers are dead, telling their stories from beyond the grave. While most of the stories are just overall fine, some of them stuck out to me. It's hard to describe which one specifically without just revealing the whole thing, especially since no character is named. I guess the duo of the drug addict and the doctor that went one after another was pretty captivating. Jack's performance was very good. Top 3 in the film without a doubt. He was third to show up and was the first one to show more emotion outside of just lost. His character held deep-rooted anger and a short temper, which all gets dashed when he realizes how hopeless the situation is. Overall, I feel like this should have been either a short film or an audiobook. Not really right for the medium of film. It's painfully boring, but it's still trying. Okay, so the answer was no, but that's fine. I officially have seen Jack O'Connell's least reviewed film on Letterboxd, and as of the time I'm recording this, I am the only person to actually write a review on that movie, so I'm feeling pretty special. Next up, we have a film from 2012 called Tower Block. This is also one that was frustrating as hell to find. I did end up having to purchase this one. It's kind of lower rated, so I don't really have like the highest hopes, but here's hoping that it's fine. Here we go. Jack O'Connell plays a violent drug dealer. He really has a niche, doesn't he? Tower Block is the story of a group of people who live in a really shitty public housing complex that's about to be torn down. After a man is murdered in the building and no witnesses choose to come forward, the case is never solved. A year later, a sniper begins to take shots at the building through the windows, killing everyone aside from a small group of survivors who have to find out how to escape. I genuinely love this movie. The premise isn't super special or unique, but goddamn does it hit. It was weird to find that the reception in this one was mostly mixed. It's got a 2.9 score on Letterboxd, while Amazon has a 4.5. Maybe I'm just a sucker for characters forced to work together to survive, because damn, I love this one. Maybe also for Jack. Out of his earlier roles, this is my favorite so far. He plays Curtis, a delinquent who harasses their residents for money in exchange for not destroying their homes. He's mouthy, rude, violent, and just an all-around dick. But during the movie, he slowly lowers his guard and ends up being a really big help to the survivors. I'm not saying he's a great guy at the end, but he does go through a character arc and ends up willingly putting himself in danger to save others. Jack bias aside, I did end up enjoying a lot of the other characters too. The mother, who was terrible to her kids having to cope with them being killed, was a surprisingly touching moment. The other two thugs in the building being weakened from their injuries and needing to beg for help was also an interesting dynamic. Our main heroine was also a great lead, as she was able to quickly take charge and never back down once when she was made the de facto leader. One gripe I do have is with the death of a certain character. He was built up as having a big sacrifice for the good of everyone else, and when it came to his death, they just genuinely had him die with a Wilhelm scream. I won't spoil the ending for you, as I think you should definitely check this one out if the premise interests you. While it doesn't delve into a lot of deep themes, it doesn't have a stunning cinematography, and it's not the most character-driven story, it's goddamn entertaining. And after sitting through a lot of schlock, this was a genuine breath of fresh air. Hell yeah. Okay, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. That one really brought up my spirits. Next up, we have another movie from 2012 called Private Peaceful, and immediately my interest has gone into the toilet. I don't like war movies. I actually really hate war movies because I find them obnoxiously boring. Private Peaceful, here we go. I wonder if they're gonna make a comment on the fact that his name is Private Peaceful. And we're back to mid. Private Peaceful sounds like a war movie, which it technically is. I say technically because the war aspect only comes in a little over halfway into the runtime, and even then, it's only shortened to a handful of actual fighting scenes. Jack plays Charlie Peaceful, the older brother of Tomo Peaceful, played by that guy from 1917. They both fall in love with the same girl in their childhood, but Charlie gets her pregnant and marries her. Tomo gets butthurt and decides to join the army since World War I is going on. Then Charlie feels pathetic and joins the war too, blah blah blah. That's the first hour and 15 minutes of the movie right there. Is this movie bad? I honestly don't know. When someone asks me what my least favorite kinds of movies are, I usually say superhero movies and war movies. Why? It's because they're all the same damn movie every single time, especially war films. War is bad. I know. I understand. I just don't want to watch young men get blown up for 2 hours. It's not entertaining. And I'm not saying things like films shouldn't be made about triggering topics. My problem with war movies is that every single time it's the same shit. Some young guy with hopes and dreams and a family gets his ass kicked in war and he gets PTSD. It's the same movie over and over and over again. One of my favorite films of all time, Forrest Gump, actually does this thing well, mainly because him being in the war isn't the entire damn movie. That was a long rant on not the movie at hand. That might be because I think I went cross-eyed while watching it. But then again, I genuinely cannot tell if this movie is bad or not because I just can't stand war movies. He doesn't even wear suspenders in this movie. It disappointed me so much. The ending did get me a little choked up, but I think it was somehow not built up enough and built up too much. I don't really know how that's possible, yet here we are. Some of the soldiers sing Rocky Road to Dublin at one point. I mean, Jack isn't singing, but if you know, you know. Whatever. All right, cool. We're in mid-territory. That's fine. Next up, we have The Liability from 2012. I thought that was Sylvester Stallone on the cover for a second. I'm not gonna lie. Again, kind of lower rated. Clearly an action flick, which isn't really my cup of tea, but that's fine. I'm fine. I'm not losing my mind. What are you talking about? There we go. 19-year-old Adam accidentally trashes his stepdad's car and is forced to do a job for him to make up some of the money. He finds out that his stepdad is in the sex trafficking business, which for some reason doesn't seem to bother him. Adam is then tasked to drive around this Randy for his stepdad, and it turns out he's a hitman. Hijinks ensue. So the big issue with this movie is Adam himself. I'm not entirely sure what his deal is or his motivations are. Like, sure, he isn't wanting to be here and he's not exactly a monster, but at the same time, he excitedly asks if he can assist the hitman with cutting up a dead body. He gets jumpy and scared at violence, but also talks about how exciting it would be to kill someone. He chooses to spare a woman he was told to shoot. but he also seems to have no reaction to finding out that his stepdad is a sex trafficker. There's a female character in this movie that's unnamed, but Jesus was she crazy interesting. I mean this when I say that she should have been the focus of the movie. She had more interesting developments to be had, and I just wish she was able to have the spotlight. I suppose the ending was interesting, but I couldn't get invested in Adam as a character, which is a shame since we're supposed to be experiencing the story through his eyes. I wasn't sure if I was meant to root for him, feel bad for him, or hate him. I genuinely cannot tell the intention. I wasn't ever bored during this one, but I didn't exactly enjoy myself either. Part of that might have had to do with the amount of times my service buffered while watching. It sent me into a furious rage. I don't know, this movie isn't bad, it's just a little muddled. Not for me. Anyway, next up is Start Up from 2013. This is a prison movie, I believe, and it is one of his higher rated roles. So here we go. Entertain me, please. Jack O'Connell plays a violent criminal. What else is new? Okay, here we tell the story of Eric, a 19-year-old violent offender as he navigates prison life. He gets the opportunity to try out some prison counseling groups, which he is extremely reluctant to do. Meanwhile, he finds out that his estranged father is also in prison with him, and we see him attempt to curb his anger while his father desperately tries to keep him safe. Okay, so a few things of note in this movie. They have not a lot to do with my overall opinion of it, just wanted to share. So one, there's a lot of British slang in this movie, and I mean a lot. I had to Google several words that I'd never heard of being used in these contexts because I was getting lost occasionally. For example, the term bacon is apparently used to describe a sex offender. If you want to watch this one, just make sure you have British slang website available. Next, there's a scene in the movie where Jack's character is being punished for acting out violently. Since he doesn't want to go willingly, he managed to hold some of the officers hostage, one of them by clamping on his balls with his teeth, and he stays there for a good 2 minutes in movie time. I have no idea how long poor Jack had to be there with his head in this dude's crotch for on set, but it did kind of make me laugh that the officer he was biting was named Officer Johnson. What about the actual movie? Okay, fine. I admit I haven't talked about this movie because seemingly nothing happens through most of it, but for once, that's a really good thing. The story builds very slowly and is told through a handful of scenes in only a few different rooms, mostly through just dialogue. I think my favorites were the scenes in the actual therapy sessions. Hearing all these inmates have different perspectives on life as they try their damn best to behave while having violent tendencies was really captivating. All the dialogue feels natural and flows super well. This is a great movie, and Christ, I damn near chewed my nail off at the ending scene. I did get pretty choked up during a certain line delivery at the end, and while I can't say I particularly love this movie personally, I can say that it's damn good. Speaking of delivery, this is Jack's best performance by far. I mean this when I say his portrayal in the film is basically Oscar worthy. All the cast do fantastic jobs, but he's quite the standout. Don't sleep on this one, y'all. Alright, I'm depressed just in time for another war movie with 71 from 2014. I have my phone out ready to Google historical context because I have a feeling I'm not gonna get what's behind this. That's fine. Let's watch 71 together. Yes? Okay, here we go. 71 is a story where I had to browse Wikipedia while the film went on because I had no idea what this was supposed to be about or where anyone was. While I am by no means an expert here, it appears to detail a conflict that went on in Northern Ireland from the 1960s all the way to the 90s. From what I could gather, the Protestant Unionists wanted Ireland to remain a part of the UK, while the Catholic Nationalists wanted Ireland to separate from the UK. Jack plays Gary Hook, a British soldier sent to Belfast to assist with the riots when he gets separated from his squad. The movie follows him as he desperately tries to find his way back while seemingly everyone wants to kill him. I'll get the negatives out of the way first. There were so many side characters in this thing, all to the point where I could hardly tell who was who or what their motivations were. There were double crosses of people I couldn't remember whose team they were on, people just sneaking around and avoiding characters that looked identical to the guys that were supposed to be on their team. That's genuinely my only nitpick. The cinematography and shot composition of this one is insanely pleasing to the eye. Jack's acting is outstanding, just like it was in Start Up, which, fun fact, he apparently started filming for this movie only 2 weeks after that film wrapped. Dedication. This movie doesn't shy away from the intense violence and gore. If you aren't willing to sit through seeing children getting maimed, you might want to skip this one. I had my hand covering my mouth during some particularly frightening scenes. While this might not classify as a war movie, it did feel like a refresh in my head. It wasn't just guy finds the horrors of war. The story was much more linear and became more thrilling because of that. I was genuinely invested the entire time and I could feel my heart pounding. I honestly wish it could have been a little longer. I would love to have some more of those action scenes. A surprisingly enjoyable one. Alrighty dighty dippity doo. Next up we have 300 Rise of an Empire. Okay, hang on. You guys remember that one meme from years ago where it was like, "This is Sparta," and the guy like kicks the dude into, yeah, you remember that? So that's from the movie 300, which I have not seen. And Jack O'Connell is not in that one. So he's in the sequel. I bet a lot of you didn't even know there was a sequel. Probably for a reason. So let me watch 300 first, and then we'll jump into this.
Oh, as long as I know how to love, I know I'll stay alive.
I think I downloaded the wrong movie. Okay, my only takeaway is that I cannot take these dudes seriously in their underwear. But it's fine. Okay, now we're gonna watch the sequel, the one with Jack O'Connell in it. Here's hoping it's not dog shit. 300 Rise of an Empire takes place before, during, and after the events of the first movie, showing the Athenian naval force take on the Persian fleet. While the Persian god king is busy dealing with the Spartans, our main antagonist this time is Artemisia, played by Eva Green. Honestly, she was a vibe in this movie. I genuinely enjoyed her character, and she was pretty threatening. I wish she didn't use her sex appeal to get what she wanted, especially after we find out her backstory, but hey, I take what we can get. Eva Green is gorgeous. But where's our Jackie boy? He plays Callisto. He's the son of one of the commanders in Athens. His whole deal is that his father thinks he's too young to fight, but Callisto decides to go anyway to prove his worth. That storyline was hilarious to me, since we see literal children being trained to fight in the first movie. Jack is clearly in his 20s here. At least shave his beard if you want him to look younger. Jack can look quite young with the right hairstyle and lack of beard, but come on, man. Anyway, this is one of his hottest looks ever. Beats out Eamon from the Runaway because Callisto isn't a huge twat. As terrible as this is to admit, I might have enjoyed this movie more than the first. It's not better than the first by any means. Good God, the CGI in this one is awful. At least the original used a more stylized look of the film to hide the bad effects. This one lingers on them and makes it so obvious that almost everything you see is computer generated. The story also kind of ends. I genuinely looked away for a second during a major battle to check on a text. When I looked back, the credits were rolling. Huh. And while I still say the original is better, this one is more my speed. Just make Jack the main character instead of this bland, sexually frustrated Randy, and I'll rank it higher. Alright, so after that interesting movie, we are into another short film from 2014 called Shelter. And of course, it's another war movie, because why would it not be a war movie? I mean, like, let's get real here. So here we go. We're still fighting in the war? Shelter is a short film about 3 British soldiers in World War II in the Netherlands who lose the rest of their squad. With one of them being injured, they force themselves into the home of a Dutch family and beg for shelter. Turns out that 2 women there have husbands in the military, their enemy. After a tense standoff, one of the soldiers comes in, guns blazing, getting all but 2 killed. Honestly, this was really good. I think it's because it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's only 14 minutes, which keeps things fast-paced and not enough to get bored. I didn't expect the ending of this film to be the way it was, and it was very devastating and realistic. Jack plays the young Private Charlie in this one, terrified of the things he's witnessing and genuinely just going on with whatever the 2 soldiers say. He ends up dying in the shootout at the end, which is for sure sad. A really good short film. I honestly don't really have anything to complain about. I think the longer you sit up for the ending, the more it means to you. Okay, now we're in for a treat, and by a treat, I mean a treat for the audience and not myself, because I had never heard of this movie, but apparently everybody and their fucking grandmother has heard of this movie. It's Unbroken from 2014, another fucking war movie. This is a film directed by Angelina Jolie. It's highly regarded as one of his best roles, and most people know this movie. I was not one of them. I was very surprised when my mother decided to watch this with me, and I was also praying for the fact that Jack O'Connell would keep his pants on for the duration. Let's find out if he does. What is with you in war movies? Unbroken is a World War II film directed by Angelina Jolie. And here, dear viewers, is where we get Jack O'Connell's first ever time doing a shitty American accent.
Thanks, Pete. For everything.
Take your shot, everyone. Ugh. This film, based on a true story, tells the tale of Louis Zamperini, an Olympic runner and son of Italian parents. Of course, let's cast the Irish-English guy to play that role. Thing is, Jack is phenomenal in this performance. Louis ends up serving in World War II when his plane crashes in the ocean.
Gently now, you just want to kiss the ground. Just a little peck, a smooch like you're kissing your sister.
With 3 survivors, they last over a month floating in the waters until they're captured by Japanese soldiers. Well, only 2 of them survived to be found by the Japanese. Whoopsie. The rest of the story shows Louis surviving as a prisoner of war in camps as he stays strong to his moral code and refuses to give in. You could say he was unbroken. I found the general consensus with this film is that most people didn't like it. Apparently it's just 2 hours of straight misery with nothing else. Well, yeah, kind of. I think you're missing what the fucking title means. I have no idea how accurate this retelling is, and I'm not gonna become an expert on a war veteran to prove a point. But I will say that you feel a sense of hope and pride while watching Louis fight. No matter what gets thrown his way, he keeps going. He maintains his spirit, refusing to back down, refusing to break. Honestly, this movie kind of speaks to me. Not the exact events, obviously, but the perseverance. Sometimes I just need a little reminder that life will throw all kinds of shit at you. Things out of your control. No matter if they seem to be impossible or even if they'll be your end, you hold your head high. You refuse to give up. Maybe I'm dragging out the film's message, but it's how I feel. I guess the film just came at a really good time in my life. I could use what it was trying to say. It was interesting seeing what the real life Louis did after the events of this movie. I didn't expect his story to play out the way it did. It's kind of amazing to see the path he went down. I don't care what the other reviews say. This was a damn good watch. All right, feeling good, feeling great. Next up, we have a short called 9 Kisses from 2014. This was made by the New York Times, and it's for free on YouTube. Hi, so Editing Snowy here. I have an interesting development, and it's the fact that for some reason this movie has just been removed from Letterboxd. Like, genuinely, if I search up... Ignore that. If I search up 9 Kisses, like... it doesn't show up anymore, but I promise you this was real. This was a real thing because in my video recording when I was doing the filters and everything earlier, it's right here. It's right next to the 2 Skins short. Like, there it is. I don't know where it went. It's gone for some reason. It's not, I had it in my Letterboxd ranking list of all of his movies, and it's just not there anymore. I don't know what happened to it, but I'm still gonna count it. It's just not in my Letterboxd list. I don't know where it went. It was there literally 2 days ago when I recorded this. So, I don't know, man. Here's hoping that it's good. I feel like I've said that a bunch. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass. Let's go. I don't know what to say, man. In the short film 9 Kisses, 18 actors are split into pairs to showcase an instance of a kiss in an intimate moment. The short has no dialogue and mostly just involves 2 famous people smooching for a few seconds with slow motion shots. Each segment is a little different tonally, I guess. To awkward kisses, spur of the moment, full-on romance, tenderness, kind of stalker vibes, or just a little silly. I think I at the end like what it was trying to do, but there's just not a lot to take away from, if that makes sense. It's not bad, but I can't give it more than whatever in the grand scheme of the ranking. Oh yes, Jack plays the ever-complex boxing guy, paired up with that chick from Divergent. They're practicing boxing when she accidentally hits him a little too hard, and then she kisses him on the cheek. It is unfair that this is one of his hottest looks I've seen so far. If I had to be honest, my favorite segment was Timothy Spall's kiss to David Oyelowo? I think. It was really funny to see these 2 guys struggle in an arm wrestling only to break down after a smooch. Kinda cute. Okay, I'm feeling extremely lonely. My house is very empty and my bed is cold, but that's fine. We have another short film now. It's called Home from 2016. Not the movie with the stupid aliens and Bazinga guy, okay? This is a short film, and it is his highest rated short film, I believe. My expectations are through the roof. And let's hope it's not a war movie, because I've had enough of those. Jack O'Connell is allergic to happy movies. This is a short film that leaves a lot up to you to figure out. Jack plays someone named, well, Jack, and he has a wife and 2 kids. They're leaving behind their lives in a rush, and we are never exactly told where they're going or why, but it's obviously meant to be an immigration metaphor. They separate and hide in trunks, get physically assaulted, are forced on their stomachs by armed guards, duck and cover from bullets in an active war zone, all while trying to keep their very young kids safe. The intensity of the war zone segment is crazy. I hardly ever say this, but props to the child actors. The toddler's constant screaming was terrifying to hear, and the slightly older kids sold the panic of the situation really well. At the end, they're brought to a refugee camp, I think, and they're the only white people present. It was certainly a choice to choose to tell the story of immigration through the lens of a white family while surrounding them with people of color also in their situation. Not saying that immigrant struggles don't happen to white people, it's just a choice. That's what I'll say about it. Crazy intense and insanely captivating, I can see why this is one of Jack's highest rated short films. Hello, Editing Snowy here once again. So this short says at the end it's inspired by the life and love of Dr. Helena Newbar, but if I Google search that, what? Who the fuck? This person doesn't exist. At least I don't think they exist. I don't know what this means. I tried to do some research, but I guess I don't get any, so womp womp. All right, we're feeling depressed. We're feeling kind of sad. That's fine. Next up, we have a film called Money Monster from 2016. This has George Clooney in it. I can hear all the middle-aged moms screaming in the audience. I don't know anything about this other than the fact that it is maybe about the stock market, which I know literally nothing about, so f*** it. Let's go. Money Monster has us follow George Clooney, I didn't bother to learn his character's name, and he hosts a TV show where he suggests companies to buy stock in. Well, after one of the companies he promotes ends up losing $800 million due to a reported glitch, a man breaks into the studio and demands answers. While I genuinely had no idea what was going on for most of the stock stuff, this movie kept me hooked. Again, much like Tower Block, I really like films where a group of people have to fight to survive a dangerous situation. I also enjoy films with an unlikable protagonist going through a character arc, and that's kind of what we get here. Jack plays the antagonist, hilariously named Kyle. I must pester my brother named Kyle after this review is over. Jack's character breaks into the studio with a gun and forces the host to wear a bomb strapped to his chest while the cameras play live. He invested $60K into the company that George Clooney promoted, and he demands an explanation for the glitch. Again, I had no idea what was happening through the whole stock thing, nor am I interested. I remember when that GameStop Wall Street thing was going on, and I just stood there with a blank look on my face pretending I had any idea what was going on. But Christ, did this tense situation keep me thoroughly engaged. There's a few twists and turns in this one, and while most of it is just pretty good, the final act really kicks into the high gear. I'm talking chewing your nails off in anticipation. It's not perfect by any means. It feels overly long despite only being 98 minutes, but it makes up for a lot of its issues with great climax and a pretty emotional ending. I promise that this won't end the way you expect from the first 2/3 of this thing. Oh yeah, and take a shot for Jack's horrible New York accent.
Yeah, behind their little fucking desk, like their little fucking puppet, buying into their bullshit instead of trying to figure out what really happened.
Okay, so after that fantastic break we've had, how about we go back to more war movies? Because I know all of you were really craving another fucking war movie. This is The Man with the Iron Heart from 2017. We're going into stories about World War II and Nazis because fuck it, I don't even care anymore. Here we go. Let's just go. I will fucking game end you. Jack, can you not do a war movie for 5 minutes? Once again, school failed me here. I'm not sure how accurate the story is. We mostly just talked about America's involvement in World War I for like 3 years. I'm not even kidding. Okay, so the story of this one is a little backstory about the aftermath of the assassination of a top Nazi figure, a guy named this. Look, I refuse to try, okay? The first 45 minutes of this movie goes into his past and shows how he joined the party after his wife introduced it to him, and how that grew into him being super crazy and a murderer of innocence for the mustache guy, sure. Then we cut to the backstory of the man who assassinated him, played by our boy, Jack O'Connell. No shots for this accent. It's not a shitty American one. Instead, it's a shitty Czech accent. Doesn't count. At least I think it's Czech.
Every day, Joseph, like clockwork.
There's a lot of shit thrown at you in this movie, okay? He's got a lovely girlfriend and that lady from Alice in Wonderland, who he bangs. Now you can take a shot. Ugh. And he vows to stay safe so he can return to her. Spoiler alert, he's not exactly able to keep that promise. While the aftermath of this guy's death is genuinely very interesting, heart-pounding, and well done, everything before is kind of fine. Bordering on boring at times. I don't think we needed a full 45 minutes of backstory for this dude. I didn't exactly want to see Nazis for a few times, but you know, thanks. Once Jack gets in the picture playing a character named Yen, I'm only mildly interested. Again, once the death happens, it's great filmmaking. Truly well done. Before that, it's just kind of good. Not great, but good. The final scene is what really keeps this movie up high on my list. The last-ditch effort for Jan and his friend to escape as they get cornered is so perfectly done. It actually even made me tear up and cry into my sweet tea. Often, I hold a lot of the film's overall score on the impact of its ending, and this one managed to bring it up from whatever spot into a halfway decent one. Oh yeah, he's got on suspenders. Drink up. Ugh. Did they really cast an Irish actor to be the one who blows up a car? Anyway, short time, 2017, Robot and Scarecrow. This looked like an animated movie because of the cover, but it's actually live action, so, sure. It's on YouTube for free, so here we go. Jack's final short film as of now. And guess what? It's sad as hell. The short is 100% free on YouTube, by the way. Please check it out if you can. At a music festival, a robot performer learns that she's only got 12 hours left before her battery dies. She runs away from her maker, grappling with her shortened life. Meanwhile, a scarecrow in a nearby field. Oh my god. Jack, is that you in there? Anyways, the scarecrow sees the activity of the festival and comes to life, feeling the need to live. The two meet and spend a wonderful evening together, experiencing true joy and excitement, and exchanging a kiss. Come the morning, the robot dies, leaving the scarecrow to wander through a field, mimicking her appearance while doing so. The short leaves us with a beautiful quote and a dedication. Wait, Daniel Kaluuya? Michael Fassbender? Okay, but is it bad that this made me so damn emotional? I did not expect to get wrecked by something that looks like this, but god lord, is this a hard hitter. This genuinely is an incredible, well-made, free short, and that goddamn final shot with the message is so touching. This is his best short by far. Okay, so I know that's him under the CGI, even though it doesn't look like it. I'm pretty sure they either dubbed over his sounds or deepened them in post. He doesn't speak, but he does audibly breathe and grunt, but it doesn't sound like him. My only guarantee that it's him is first, this hilarious behind the scenes photo, but also the shot where he breaks free. For those who don't know, Jack got into a car accident as a teen and severed a nerve in his right pinky, and it doesn't bend properly anymore.
Pathetic, innit? Car crash, upside down, put my hand on my head. I got lucky, actually.
Now you'll never unsee it. And maybe it can prove he's somewhere in that mess of straw. Rant over. Cry into your glass as you take a shot for his suspenders. Okay, are we all feeling sad? We're all feeling sad. That's great. That's fantastic. But we have to move on to the next Jack O'Connell thing, which is a movie from 2017 called Tulip Fever. Apparently this is a romance movie, which is fantastic because I have been dying for another yearning Jack O'Connell role. So here we go, and let's hope it's not ass. Shameless admit that I was dying to watch this one before I started going in order for this marathon. I heard Jack was in a yearning romantic role and had a weird-ass Jon Snow haircut, and I was sold. Too bad the movie sucks balls. I had to do some research for this, but apparently the backstory for this movie is real. In the 1600s in Amsterdam, tulips suddenly became worth crazy amounts of money, depending on what colors they grew in. The rarest was the white tulip with red streaks, and sometimes they would sell for more than gold. Then like a year later, they just stopped being worth anything. Let's go gambling. So this movie follows a questionably aged girl taken from an orphanage to get married to this rich guy, promising to give him an heir. After 3 years, she still hasn't gotten pregnant. When her husband hires a painter to do a portrait of the two of them, the wife begins an affair with his painter, pretty much out of nowhere. This story is so goddamn boring. While the core concept is similar to another one of the movies in this list coming up, I just cannot buy this romance. I don't know hardly anything about either of these two twats, and I don't really care to either. Where's Jack? Well, he plays Willem, pretty much the only good thing in this movie, Jack bias completely aside. He's a poor fishmonger who's in love with the maid, Maria, and the two have a genuinely sweet romance together. And yeah, take a shot because they bang. Ugh. Honestly though, this film has more sex scenes than some full seasons of Game of Thrones, and Jack's only in one of them. Fucking hell. After like a million misunderstandings and convoluted plot points involving investing in tulips, wrongly guessing Maria is cheating on him because someone stole her cloak, and being forced into the Navy against his will, Jack is out of the movie for the most part, leaving Maria pregnant. Our bland main character pretends to be pregnant so she can fool her husband, and pretends to die while having the child so she can run away with the painter guy. Due to more weird choices and plot developments, she decides to instead become a nun. Her husband goes to India for some reason, gives the house and riches to Maria as Jack returns, and the two have 6 children together after the 8-year time skip. What the fuck? Oh yeah, and the painter just goes back to painting. Okay. This movie is like the ending of Romeo and Juliet where everything goes to shit, but it's just the whole movie. Fucking hell. Okay, so this movie was ass. So I need Roger Rules to get over here and save me.
I'm Chirag Gupta, and I'm single.
Die!
Okay, next up is a limited series called Godless from 2017. It's talked about a lot in a lot of Jack O'Connell Twitter groups that I'm a part of. So yeah, here we go. Welcome to the world of cowboys. Let's cast an Irish guy for the lead in our Western. Godless was the first series I watched for this marathon, and I have to say, this is one of the most boring things I've ever watched. Production-wise, it's decent. Story and characters, they didn't just drop the ball, they dropped the whole goddamn pipe. What's the story? Well, there's a bad cowboy chasing after a good cowboy. The good cowboy is helping a widowed woman on her farm by training her horses. The sheriff is hunting the bad cowboy. There's a town of only women filled with lesbian angst. The deputy has a forbidden love story where there's somehow too much going on in this series, while also nothing happens at all. The biggest problem here is the lack of tension. For being 7 episodes of all an hour length, almost nothing occurs in that time of any consequence. The main antagonist just wandering around aimlessly until the very last episode. We've got no idea how close he is to the rest of the characters. The sheriff is trying to hunt the bad guy, but after confronting him in like episode 4, the bad guy just lets him go. Am I supposed to be intimidated? The bad guy is Jeff fucking Daniels. The lesbians add literally nothing and you can completely remove them. The widow on the farm is so boring that I think they forgot to add in her supposed romance arc. She does bang Jack though, so take a shot. Jack plays the good cowboy named Roy Good in Suspenders. Take a shot. And one of the worst southern accents I have ever heard.
Open the damn gate!
What was that? Take your shot. You know, I watched this for Jack O'Connell, and then I found out that another actor that I've had a crush on since I was a kid is also in this. Yeah, Thomas Bertie Sangster. Want to know a fun fact? Thomas is actually older than Jack. By a few months, but you know, how is that possible? Went on a tangent because there's nothing else to say in this boring-ass cliche series. And need I remind you that the runtime for this thing is 7 goddamn hours. 7 hours of nothing happening. Christ.
Top of the morning to you, ladies. My name is Jacksepticeye, and welcome back to this bullshit again.
What was that, Roderick? You were calling me? I thought that was a sweet release of death.
If I can prove that I never touched my balls, will you promise not to tell another? So what you saw?
Oh, yeah, next thing. National Theater Live, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. For some reason, Jack decided in his late 20s that he wanted to do stage plays, so now we have a recording of a play where apparently his character is gay. At least according to the description, he was gay. I don't really like plays all that much, but I'm willing to give this a try because we're trying new things here. I did have to pay $9 to rent this damn thing, but you can get it for free if you sign in with your institution on the webpage. Well, go on, start the movie. What are you looking at me for? Okay, so I don't really care for theater productions, maybe because I've got the attention span of a goldfish, or perhaps that the lack of editing can make scenes feel awkward. I don't know. Yeah, burn me at the stake or whatever for not having seen Hamilton. That being said, I didn't like this, but I cannot accurately tell you if it's a good production or not. This play is told in a single room, and it's mostly just 3 different characters monologuing for 2.5 hours while Jack just kind of sits there in a towel or loose white clothes, looking bored. He's doing a great impression of me while I was watching it. So this story is an old one, originally told in the 50s. Essentially, it's the story of a rich man's birthday, and his son, weirdly named Brick, is having marital troubles with his wife, Maggie.
Haven't I done time enough? Can I apply for a pardon?
Maggie, you're spoiling my liquor.
This whole thing for her?
Be quiet. I can't hear the escalator.
Depending on the version, it's more explicit or not. Basically, an old friend of Brick passed away, and they may or may not have been romantically involved. The friend being a guy, so gay tension.
I had friendship with Skipper. You are naming it dirty.
You are gay.
Maggie is at her wit's end for trying to make her husband find her appealing, while Brick's dad is yelling at him for being an alcoholic. Oh yeah, and his dad has cancer. See, Jack's a phenomenal actor, as we've seen, but he is best in the element of film. To be a performer on stage, you have to have a separate set of skills, one that he doesn't have. Everyone else is giving it their all, but he just doesn't seem to have the same stage presence as they do. His voice doesn't carry to the audience. His reactions are too subdued. He's not trained for the stage. He's also not trained to do a Louisiana accent. What the goddamn hell is this?
I was always 2 or 3 beats behind what was going on the field, so I just quit. Yeah, it's clear.
Take a shot. Ugh. I went cross-eyed trying to pay attention to this thing. I couldn't find it in me to enjoy it, but then again, I'm far from the target audience. I did find every other performance phenomenal, especially the wife. Then again, she seriously got on my nerves for doing a near 45-minute monologue, uninterrupted in the opening scene. Christ. Also, this was filmed in front of a live audience, and there are several times where Jack strips completely naked. The damn play opens with him hunched over in a fake shower, spread eagle, ass naked. Okay, I don't know, man. Good story, but bad execution. Okay, that was boring. Hopefully this next movie, Trial by Fire, will calm me down. This is from 2018. And I have heard that this is very sad. And fun fact about this movie is that I watched it for the first time on Jack O'Connell's birthday. So keep that in mind as I talk about the contents of this thing. Ready? Here we go. Listen, my brain has been randomly trying to convince me to rewatch the entirety of Criminal Minds for no reason, and this movie did not help my urges. Trial by Fire also features this cursed image of Jack O'Connell in a mullet running away from the worst CGI fire I've ever seen in my lifetime. This movie is based on the true story of Cameron Todd Willingham, a man accused of starting a fire in his home and killing his 3 young daughters. The first 45 minutes of this movie is the case and his time spent in prison while being called a baby killer. Todd is very much an aggressive person. He's stubborn, rude, and mouthy. But after 7 years in prison, he appears to have calmed down a lot to reflect on his life in death row. Meanwhile, a woman named Elizabeth takes an interest in his case, finding some discrepancies in the evidence, and she firmly believes that Todd is innocent. The film then turns into a race against the clock as his execution date becomes closer and closer while Elizabeth tries her best to convince the Texan government to reopen the case. To start right off the bat, the film aggressively pushes the ethical topic of the death penalty, something that honestly I never really had a firm stance on. Not that I didn't have opinions, but it just was never a topic that I was super strong standing on one side or the other. We have to give the film a bit of credit. It definitely woke me up in a lot of the issues at hand with this form of justice, and it did so with incredible efficiency. Aside from his mediocre Texas accent, take a shot.
That's total bullshit.
That one barely went down. This is one of my favorite performances of Jack so far. The sheer amount of emotions and situations he goes through makes me have goosebumps. I was sucked in right away with a character that I thought I was gonna hate with a burning passion. I admit I was openly weeping at the end of this, and while yes, some of it was the story, it mostly came down to the stellar performance. While the story can feel a little similar to Start Up, I prefer this one out of the two. The story never had me bored and would never linger too long in one place. The different stages that each character went through kept things interesting at all times. While I don't know how close it is to the true story, as a film on its own, it kept me thoroughly invested and on the edge of my seat. Christ, this is for sure a slept-on movie. I'm sad, you're sad, we're sad, let's go. Next thing, Seberg. Seberg is a biopic. I think I've never heard of this person. It stars the lady from Twilight. I'm sure you like that. That would be great, sure. I don't have high hopes, and I'm feeling kind of sodaed out, so please keep your pants on. Next, let's watch this. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, I've never heard of this Jean Seberg lady, and it almost feels like this movie punishes you for not knowing who she is. This is a biopic of her story, and from what I could gather, she's an actress who lives in France with her husband and son. She comes to the US to star in some films, and while there, she gets heavily involved with civil rights and the Black Panther movement. Oh yeah, and this takes place in the late 60s. After starting an affair with one of the members of the movement, the FBI begins to keep tabs on her. They bug her home and essentially stalk her for several years, driving her to near insanity. That's the plot of the whole thing. The whole movie. Somehow, that is stretched into an hour and 40 mind-numbing long shots of characters just standing around and talking about nothing. Maybe I'm missing something, maybe this movie is okay, but for the love of everything, I was so bored, so unbelievably bored. And I think the reason for this is that I had no idea who anyone was or what was going on. I didn't have the historical context. Unlike a film like This Is England or 71, just Googling information didn't clear it up. I would have to read article after article, delve deep into multiple subjects, and take goddamn history class all over again to understand. And that kind of sucks. It still tried, I'll give it credit for that. The acting was on point, shot composition was good. Seberg's psyche breaking down was well handled, but I couldn't bring myself to care. Oh yeah, Jack. He plays someone named, well, Jack. He's one of the agents tasked with spying on her. He eventually grows a brain and realizes what they're doing is borderline stalking, and he has a change of heart. But it's so rarely shown. Instead, it's practically told to you through boring scenes. Oh my god, just hurry up! This is not his worst movie. Critically, it's just kind of whatever. The one thing this movie had going for it was Jack's American accent is actually good.
She's got her kid with her. You think she'll be entertaining radicals while she's got a kid with her?
Save your shot. Not needed for this one. Character development. I need a movie that makes sense. Roderick, is that you? Please save me.
Let this be a normal field trip with a friend? No way!
Okay, next movie. Jungleland from 2019. This looks like it's a boxing movie of some sorts. It's also one that's very commonly talked about when people are big fangirls of Jack O'Connell, so my expectations are high. Here we go. I don't know anything about boxing, nor do I care. Thankfully, this movie is barely about boxing. Brothers Stanley and Lion get screwed over because Stanley gambled away a crap ton of money and they're both in debt. So Stanley signs up his brother to box in Jungleland for a $100,000 grand prize to pay it off. Lion's decent at boxing, but doesn't really want to do it all that much. But trapped under his brother's thumb, he agrees. Along with women that they are forced to traffic by the people they're indebted to, the gang travels to Jungleland to fight for their money. I didn't really have any strong opinions on this movie, positive or negative. I think it was good. Aside from Jack's bad accent once again as Lion, come on man, you were doing so well, take a shot.
Yeah, you like to sew, right?
Ugh. And his horrific rat tail haircut. Seriously, dude, what is that? This movie is more about standing up for yourself and not letting others push you around. The older brother is just a supreme twat who drags Lion into all of his problems time and time again. The romance between Lion and the girl they're forced to bring with them is alright. They've got good chemistry, but I just can't bring myself to care too much about them.
How are you?
Like you give a shit.
There's nothing to say about this movie because it's fine. Also, they bang, take a shot. The writing's fine. The characters are fine. The story's fine. It's fine. I want to blow the brother up with a bomb for all the stuff he puts my boy through. There's a scene later in the film where the characters are strapped for cash that made me so violently angry. He essentially sells their dog without anyone else's permission. I would have ditched him on the side of the road if he did those things to me. I don't care how badly we needed money. If you like boxing movies, then watch Rocky or something because there's only 3 fights in this thing. One of them lasts about 10 seconds. It's more of a traveling mob kind of film with a shitty haircut. I like the ending, I suppose, but overall just a fine flick. I am severely let down. Next up, we have Little Fish from 2021. This is one of Jack O'Connell's highest rated movies. I've also heard that it's very sad, but I have seen some pretty sad shit in my time, so it's gonna have to try pretty hard to actually get me crying my eyes out. So, I got my tissues, but here we go. I hate this movie because it made me chronically depressed. There has never been another film that forced me to pause multiple times so I could get up and walk outside and stare at the lawn. This is without a doubt one of the saddest films I have ever watched, but by God, it's a masterpiece. Set in a world devastated by an epidemic of disease that makes people slowly forget their memories, a newlywed couple have to try to navigate their lives as one of them begins to suffer the effects. Jack plays Jude Williams, an absolute sweetheart who's already lost his best friend to the illness while he begins to exhibit symptoms. This movie just hits you with gut punch after gut punch, seeing his memories slowly fade away while his wife tries her best to remain positive. Using a non-linear story format, this one requires multiple watches if you're able to stomach it a second time. There were so many little details I missed out on my first time with this. Then again, it was kind of hard to see through my tears. I started crying around the 20-minute mark and genuinely never stopped. You will feel such a giant hole in your core get torn open as these two desperately try to cling to their past together, while also fighting through a world losing itself as well. While I initially wanted to get a tattoo from another movie, I ended up loving this film's messages so much that I, got the design the couple gets in this. And I would highly recommend this movie for yourself if you're in the right mindset. It means so much, and I hope you always remember to hold on to that love you have for others. Life's too short. I hate you for making this masterpiece of cinema, you asshole. Take a shot for Jack's terrible American accent and laugh that he comments on his wife's cool UK accent, because that's literally one of the only smiles you'll get in this.
Oh, no, I didn't expect your accent to be, your voice, I mean.
Holy moly. I am begging you to watch this one. You need to see it and witness it for yourself. Hold your loved ones close, y'all. You never know when they'll be gone and it'll just be a fading memory. I'm gonna pretend like I didn't just cry my eyes out during that whole thing. And we're gonna talk about the next movie. Okay, we're gonna talk about the next movie. It's actually a limited series called North Water. It originally premiered on AMC. It for some reason only has 2 people listed in the cast when I know for damn sure that there's a lot of other people. I don't know what that's about. Jack looks very cute in this promotional photo, so I'm excited. Here we go. An AMC limited series this time. We have 5 one-hour-long episodes about freezing your balls off at the edge of the world. What's the story? Well, Jack plays Patrick Sumner, a disgraced army surgeon who joins a whaling vessel to find some sort of purpose in life. Turns out the captain is planning to have this ship sunk for insurance fraud. Oh, and there's a psychopath on board who murders a young cabin boy. Well, this series wasn't exactly my cup of tea. It is a damn good series. And there's this one scene in particular, probably the most well-known from the series, involving a polar bear. And my god, the acting, camera work, music, special effects, all of it comes together to create a once-in-a-lifetime sequence that still makes my brain melt weeks later. In a good way. Patrick is very likable in this. He is genuinely an intelligent guy stuck in this terrible situation. While I wasn't super interested in Colin Farrell's character, being the psychopath, I still found him very intimidating. And his violence not just shoved away or censored, so you can truly get an idea at how evil he is. And it wasn't just done for shock value either. You can tell that this was just believable enough, but not too over the top to become exploitative. They could have cut out a little bit of the first act to make it more concise, but it used up its time better than shows like Godless did. It kept my attention the entire time, and I felt all the intended emotions while watching it. I was not prepared for the amount of times that foreskin is mentioned, but you know what? I'll take it in exchange for this absolutely gorgeous look Jack has to flaunt in this one.
Could you pull back your foreskin, please, Mr. McKendrick?
Also take a shot. He's wearing suspenders. I would for sure recommend this one if you're looking for a short series to binge, or if you're into intense stories about the fight for survival, or if you just like hearing an Irish guy say the word foreskin.
Pull back your foreskin, please, Mr. Drax.
I feel cold watching this movie, so I'm in real life wrapped up with a blanket right now. But next up, we have a movie called Lady Chatterley's Lover. This was on Netflix, I believe. I have been warned about this film, and I don't really know why I've been warned about it. Keep your shot glasses nearby. Here we go. Okay, this was the second film of Jack's library I put on. This is fine. Lady Chatterley's Lover, the story of a woman in an unhappy marriage to a guy who barely pays her any attention after losing the use of his legs. He then tells her to go out and get pregnant by some other guy because he wants an heir and he knows he can't have kids. However, he of course would have only meant a guy who's pure, with some sort of noble blood, and definitely not the Irish gamekeeper, and they're f***ing. Take a shot. So, in the next scene we have, okay, another shot. And another. Two more for the montage. And one more for good measure. Okay, so this movie genuinely has more intimate scenes than I was expecting. Reminder that your friendly neighborhood asexual is here. The scenes are mostly uncut and last for several minutes, which is even more explicit than the ones in Game of Thrones, which is really saying something. The thing is, I actually kinda liked this one. Not for those scenes, obviously, but the romance in it. Yeah, most of the romance buildup is those kind of shots, but I found the quieter moments with the two leads really sweet. Jack plays Oliver Mellors, the gamekeeper, who is genuinely adorable in this role. Once again in suspenders, take a shot. But able to do his natural voice, and the man bears all for the camera. I never thought I'd say this, but I've seen way too much of Jack O'Connell.
You want me to f*** you?
No.
I think what makes this one work is the feminist ideals of taking charge of one's sexual life. The main character is clearly unhappy sexually, as her husband isn't able to perform, but, you know, his hand still f***ing works. Instead, he makes her feel bad for even suggesting ideas and chooses to shame her. With Oliver, she's able to take charge sexually and find herself while also receiving love and care that she always wanted. Even if it can feel like it's just watching adult content, it does have more substance to it. And hey, any film that celebrates a woman being sexual without shaming her gets points in my book. Whether you just want to see naked people doing softcore or a forbidden love story bathed in the blood of Smurfs, seriously, why is every shot so blue? Then have I got the movie for you. I have mixed feelings on this movie that I wish to not dive into. Next up is Ferrari from 2023. This is a movie about the car people, I believe. I mean, I should hope so. I've been told it's kind of boring, and I've also been told he's not in it very much, so I don't know. I'm just here for the vibes. We're almost done. Here we go. So what does a title like Ferrari, coupled with this poster, give you the impression of? Maybe the story of the founding of the company, maybe the story of an intense race. What about the struggles of the racing world? Something else? Place your bets. If your answer was cheating and second family drama, you're correct. This movie is 2 hours long, and about 90 minutes of that is Adam Driver playing the founder of Ferrari. He's got a secret second family, and his wife is a bit of a buzzkill. Tough shit, dude. He also had a kid with her, but he died and now puts a lot of effort into his second family. This movie was so infuriating. I should say that I don't really care much for the sport of racing in any capacity, but I acknowledge that it can be made for pretty good movies with how creative shots and sounds can be on the big screen. But there's almost no actual racing in this damn thing until we're past those first boring 90 minutes. I don't care about this guy or his second family. Yeah, his wife isn't the best, but she lost a kid and feels very neglected in her husband's life. Piss off. Unless I missed something major, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel any kind of sympathy for this asshole. I only felt for the wife and how shitty she must have felt. It was wrong of her to take out her frustrations on the mistress's kid, but really, that seemed to be her only fault. Anyway, after those abysmal 90 minutes, the final race is actually really well done. They have a lot of fun with the creative shots and letting you feel that wind hitting your face just like the racers. There's a particular scene of the race that had me yelling in shock and covering my face. That has to count for something.
Ryan, look out!
But after that, it's back to more relationship drama until the credits roll. Jack plays Peter Collins, one of Ferrari's racers. He doesn't win, sadly. And he's also only in this movie for about 5 minutes. This race probably would have also been a lot more fun if every car wasn't the same fucking color. I couldn't tell who was who. Kind of feeling bored, but we're on the home stretch. We just got a couple left. We can fight through it. You can fight through it with me. Next up, we have Back to Black. This is a movie about Amy Winehouse. It's a biopic. I didn't know who Amy Winehouse was. I'm sorry. Yeah, throw the tomatoes. Yeah. I watched this movie with my mom because she does know about her, so I was hoping she could give me a little bit of insight. So, here we go. Once again, I have to make it clear that I'm not a fan of watching biopics, especially when they're about people I have literally never heard of. Yeah, I live under a rock. Anyways, I was quickly made aware that the general public seems to hate this movie for what it portrayed Amy Winehouse's life as, seeming to glorify her tragic story and put focus only on her failings and very little on her actual musical talent. And you know what? I respect those opinions. But going in as somebody who knew nothing, I did my best to try to judge this solely as a toxic love story coupled with the struggles of addiction. With just that, it's decent. As I said before, this is based on the story of singer Amy Winehouse, mostly detailing her romance with a man named Blake and her spiral of alcoholism and drug abuse. The thing is, I actually really like the way the toxic relationship angle was handled, but I wasn't the biggest fan of the addiction plotline. Jack O'Connell plays Blake, a drug-addicted man who Amy falls head over heels for, and he feels the same about her. He's the one who seems to kickstart her into harder drugs, despite her being against it at first and him being okay with that. I think it's more meant to, and they're f***ing. Okay, take a shot. I think it's meant to be that she got comfortable around drugs when he used around her, and she picked them up after their first of many split-ups. As weird as this is as well, I do appreciate them highlighting the physical abuse in relationships. Specifically from the woman to the man. This doesn't happen a lot in movies, and while Blake isn't exactly the best dude, he never raises a hand to Amy. And this is not just because it hurts me to see Jack in pain, okay? His character's still kind of a dick. Speaking of dicks, there's his, and he's f***ing his ex, so take another shot. On the addiction standpoint, I feel like they sped through almost everything. Nearly all of this is just implied or done completely off screen. Her whole rehab plotline, one that inspired one of her most famous songs, is skipped over entirely, leaving those like me to wonder why the hell she wrote a song about not wanting to go to rehab when the previous scene shows her willingly go there after suggesting it herself. I don't know. I have mixed thoughts on this one. I completely understand if you hate this movie due to the portrayal of Amy, but as a newbie, I thought it was fine. It did get me very interested in her songs though. She did have an incredible voice. Rest in peace. Next up is the best movie. It is Sinners from 2025. Let's go. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. As of now, I have seen it 17 times. I have seen this movie 17 times. Anyway, so I'm excited to watch this again. Here we go. Here it is. The film that started this whole ass marathon. And yeah, it's my favorite one of his movies. If you haven't seen this, then genuinely, what are you doing here? Go watch this movie, damn it, before I strangle you. Sinners is the story of twins Smoke and Stack who return to their hometown to open up a juke joint along with their little cousin Sammy. Sammy has a magical gift to summon spirits of the past and future with his music ability, which unfortunately attracts an evil threat right to their door. Sinners is what made me believe in the magic of movie making again. It felt so ethereal seeing this on the big screen, which I did 3 times. While I didn't relate to the characters' personal struggles, obviously, it nonetheless entranced me with its storytelling. The cast does a phenomenal job at bringing their characters to life. The music department served 8 and left no crumbs, and Ryan Coogler, that beautiful bastard, made a goddamn masterpiece that feels like a celebration of the art of cinema. Jack plays the main antagonist of this one, named Remmick, and this was the first film that I had ever seen him in. He's just so undeniably hilarious in this role. He gets to rock out his incredible singing voice and impressive dancing talent, as well as show off his intimidation factor. For being a 5'7" ginger-ish haired man, this guy can be damn scary, and I love that. Remmick is still my favorite character personally, but man, it's a tight race. I also loved Annie, Stack, and Cornbread as well. I think Jack only gets the edge here because of his singing chops, and he's also goddamn hot as hell in this movie. Sinners reminds you of why movies were made. It shows you the power your creative talent can have. And it's one of the best movies I've ever seen in my goddamn life. Hallelujah. I won't tell you anymore, because if you haven't seen it yet, then you need to get on that. It's available on HBO Max as of right now. You don't exactly have any excuse. And dude, suspenders and a belt? Calm down, bro. Those pants aren't going anywhere. No one's trying to take them from you. Take a shot. Hunt there and turn her down the rocky road and all the way to Dublin, Ra. Okay, we got one last movie. One more! Yay! This is 28 years later from 2025. I saw this for the first time in the theater. I actually was like halfway through the marathon. I wasn't even halfway. It was like 3 movies into the marathon, honestly. And I was like, fuck it. I gotta go see it. I gotta go see it. I was so excited. So I went to go see it, and I'm ready to tell you all about my thoughts. So here we go. I somehow have everything to say about this movie and also nothing. I was promised Jack O'Connell. What the f is this? Okay, so I always enjoyed the original 28 Days Later. While I never saw the second film, I was told you didn't need to understand this one, so the dead meat kill count worked fine. The first 2/3 of this movie is what you'd expect from the trailer. It's got coming of age moments in the zombie apocalypse, a fight for survival, and the beautiful bond between a mother and child against all odds. While it wasn't flawless, the first 2/3 of this movie are really good. The cinematography especially shines in some super unique shots. You can feel the tension and panic as it comes to you masterfully on the screen. There's also a massive amount of zombie dick, more so than I can say I've ever seen in my whole life. Not that I've seen a lot of zombie dick, but this one for sure takes the cake. Anyway, once Ray Fiennes shows up, the movie starts to get a little weird. Not bad by any means, just weird. His character makes me kind of confused, and it feels a little out of place. Whatever. The last 5 minutes, I am convinced the writers were on shrooms. What in the goddamn hell is that? Jack comes in as some blonde guy who's been hyped up subtly throughout the whole movie named Jimmy, who is a guy in a bad blonde wig, a purple tracksuit, a princess tiara, and enough shiny jewelry to make Tamatoa jealous. Then he and his similarly dressed guys all go Power Rangers on the zombies set to heavy metal music. He offers his hand to our protagonist before we cut to black. What? I've heard people online say that this ending is a litmus test to see if you're smart or not. Well, give me a wedgie and a dunce cap because I'm the f***ing idiot of the summer then. Apparently this is meant to be a reference to the sexual predator TV personality Jimmy Savile. Okay. So that's the equivalent of somebody dressed up like Harvey Weinstein showing up at the end of a zombie movie. It's scary given the implications, but it still doesn't connect to zombie dick. Are they interested in the sequel? Yeah, I guess, out of sheer curiosity. The rest of this movie is good enough to let it sit here on my list, but all else considered, this ending is just a big what the f that makes me question my own sanity. And not in a good way. Jack, what are you doing, man? Okie dokie, artichokey, we have officially seen all the Jack O'Connell movies. I know, this is incredible. I'm so happy that we're here. But now you're probably wondering, what's the ranking of these? Because that was kind of the whole premise of the video, wasn't it? It was to rank them. But don't you worry, my sweet summer child. We are going to rank these movies. And, of course, I am objectively correct in the ranking system of these. Okay, so we're going to be ranking these things now. We're going to kind of do like a combination of like how objectively good it is, like I could argue with a bunch of other cinephiles, or just how much I actually liked it. So it's going to be a mashup of those two. So this is going to be completely improvised, so if I start to slur words together, just blame all the soda I've had today. Okay, so here we go. We're starting from the bottom, working our way up. Now, it might seem kind of cruel to put like a film of this low budget down, but I put it here mostly for the objective reasons, where it's like the audio was really hard to hear, the music was too loud, the camera shots were really boring. Like, there's not really hardly anything to take out of this short, but like, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. I definitely hated more things that came out of this marathon, but the only reason I put it at the bottom is just like, I can't really argue of its quality, you know? At least everything above this list has one thing that I can say, yeah, that was okay. Even things that you'd think I would fucking seethe at, I at least appreciated one thing. So there's nothing really to say about Wayfaring Stranger. It's just kind of whatever. I bet a lot of you expected that would be at the bottom, right? The Runaway is my least favorite thing I had to watch for this marathon. It is almost 5 hours of absolute misery and just exploitative nonsense. All the characters suck. The story sucks. I hate everyone in this thing. Aside from Desiree. Desiree was actually done really well, I think. And I also actually really liked the color that was used in this. The cinematography and just the coloring that was used in this gave it a really nice, vibrant look. And I wish that literally anything else in the series was even close to that level of quality. So that's why I put it down here. I hate this series so much, and I hope Eamon has a fun time in hell. I just hated this so much. It was so boring. I don't know who anybody is. It really stinks. Not enough Jack O'Connell in this. I just don't really have a lot to say about Wuthering Heights just because, like, I don't know what was going on. I was trying so hard to pay attention, but it just was not happening, chat. It was not happening. I couldn't focus on hardly anything. The characters were so mean to each other, and I don't know how I'm supposed to root for this romance when clearly these guys are not compatible. So I don't really care for this. I heard that there's another adaptation of Wuthering Heights coming out soon, which I will not be seeing because fuck, I hate this story. Anyway, we're moving on because there's nothing really else to say about it. This is the most movie I've ever seen, if that makes sense. There's just nothing that happens in this somehow. It doesn't seem to follow a similar 3-act structure. It's just shit going on at a Dutch angle. It's kind of whatever, it's inoffensive. Like, if you just want something to put on the TV just as background noise, this one will be fine. I'm gonna talk about Jack for a minute first, because that's kind of why I even acknowledge this movie and why it's as high up as it is, because genuinely his plotline was pretty decent. I think the Tulip aspect was kind of misused. Like, it didn't really amount to much. Like, it just felt like a plot device and not like actually woven into the plot, if that makes sense. But putting aside that storyline, everything else in this sucks so much ass. I don't know anything about the two main characters. I don't know why we're supposed to root for their like forbidden romance. Like, I know Lady Chatterley's Lover does a very similar thing of like a affair being like the central crux of the plot, but unlike a film like Lady Chatterley's Lover, like, they didn't do any kind of characterization of these people, and so like I can't really root for them to have a happy ending because like there's nothing that's happening. So I don't really like this one all that much, but I will watch just the clips of Jack O'Connell because he is amazing in this movie, and I think him and Maria are adorable. I didn't like this movie at all. I have no idea what's going on, but the reason why I put it up this high is because the acting was so good and the shot composition was really well done. I did like the breaking down of Seberg's psyche, but the reason why I didn't really like it is that I had no idea like who anyone was or what was going on or like the historical context, and I was trying to do some research as the movie went on, but like it just wasn't getting anywhere, and I was also losing my focus. It's just long shots, people just talking. That's pretty much what this movie is. And yeah, there's a couple other films on here that are mostly monologue based, but like this one I just think didn't work for what the story it was trying to tell was. Maybe I'm not the target audience that this needed, but like, I'm sorry, I hated this so much. Number 32 is Godless, a very controversial opinion because I know this one is talked about a lot. I didn't like Godless, and the reason for that is that it's too long. If this was a 90-minute or a 2-hour movie, even a 2.5-hour movie, this probably would have been at least another 10 places up. It's got some good stuff in there, like some of the characters are interesting. I kind of trashed a little bit too much in my recap. The problem with it is that there is no tension whatsoever. The bad guy, again, is wandering around. We have no idea where he is, how close he is, like, is there actually a danger going on? We know he's a bad guy, but like he's missing an arm and he's Jeff Daniels. I can't really take him seriously. Jack's character Roy Good is just so boring and so bland, and like his only trait is that he can't read. My god, he's just like me, for real, for real. Honestly, the only character that I was genuinely interested in was Thomas Brady Sangster's character, Whitey. I really liked Whitey. I really liked his attitude that he had. I liked the rapport he had with some of the ladies in the town, and I liked his forbidden love story angle. Too bad that he was unceremoniously killed off, and then my interest was completely shot. I didn't really like this series all that much, but again, like, I think it was just because it was 7 hours long. If it was just an hour and a half or 2 hours or 2.5 hours, this would have been higher. It's just whatever. As weird as this is gonna sound, because I know I trash war movies pretty hard in this recap, the best parts of this film are the war segments, and specifically just the scenes where Charlie and Tomo are having to stay together, like fight with each other. There's a really good scene towards the end where sort of a sacrifice is made, I guess, and it's so well handled. It's so good. The first hour and 15 minutes of this movie is so ass. It's just the cliche of two brothers falling in love with the same girl, and I hate that cliche. I hate it so much. And I just hate that like nothing really happened in that whole hour and 15. Like it wasn't even a romance. You couldn't even say that, just because like characters just, oh, we're in love now, guess we're having a kid together, yippee. And it's like, okay, what? But I'm far from the target audience, so I don't really know how well this would hold up to somebody who likes war films. So if you like this, more power to you. Now this kind of, you could say, is an honorary mention because it has since been removed from Letterboxd, but this is where it would go, just above Private Peaceful. Nine Kisses is the film that's probably the lowest on the list that I would actually say that I liked, but because there just wasn't much substance to it, I can't really put it up any higher. I don't know what else I can do to tell you guys. It's actually kind of cute. I do like some of the scenarios. A couple of them are really weird. Like I really didn't like the Chadwick Boseman and Kristen Stewart segment because that just felt really creepy. I don't know how to explain that, but anyway, it's fine. It's on YouTube for free if you want to check it out, but it kind of gets an honorary mention here. Now, this is kind of interesting with how low it got, because I actually thoroughly enjoyed the first part of this, and even a little bit of Act 2. But the problem with it, very similar to Godless, is that it's too long for what it has. The other issue it has is that third act conflict is so stupid. I really didn't like the way that they handled the character of Robert. I think that it just came out of nowhere, and there was hardly any conflict leading up to that, so I was kind of getting bored. But when I say I want a conflict, I didn't want a character to just suddenly become extremely unlikable. Like, what the hell was that about? But overall, it's fine. Some of the cute little fluff in the beginning is actually really nice. But if you want to watch it, it's on YouTube under a Russian title, I think. But it's just kind of fine. I don't know, man. The reason why this gets the edge over Dive is because of that unnamed female character. She's really, really cool. I don't really get Adam's deal. I still don't understand if we're supposed to like him or not. I know that's like, oh, he's the apprentice, he's learning. But with the way the twist comes in the third act, it doesn't really match up with the tone of the rest of the film, I feel. Not that the twist is bad, just like Adam's attitude as a hitman's apprentice, you could say, is completely dashed because of that third act twist. It doesn't really make any sense in my head. If you just asked me to describe an action movie, that's probably what I would pick. There's much better action films that Jack O'Connell is in, so we're just gonna skip past this one now. Now, I was so bored during this. I was about ready to fall asleep. But the reason why this gets higher on the list is because of the acting of literally everybody else besides Jack. Jack's acting was terrible. It was so bad in this. Oh my god. Everyone else's acting was really good. I did like the father character's acting, especially. He did a fantastic job. And the wife, great. I wish she would shut the f up because I was listening to her monologue for 45 uncut minutes. But I think overall the story is good. I just kind of wish that it was a little bit shorter. Like, it did not need to be almost 2.5 hours. Like, good god, man. I don't know. I'm not the target audience. I don't like stage plays, so womp womp. If you like it, more power to you. If you don't, well then, welcome to the club. I know a lot of people absolutely hate this movie, and I originally had it a little bit higher, but then I listened to some of those concerns and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna move it down. Just as a toxic relationship and drug addiction like story, I think it was actually pretty well done. But I do understand the concerns and controversies that came along with this movie. But overall, I just didn't really have too much of an opinion on that aspect, again, because I didn't know her. Just as a film in of itself, the colors are nice. The faux Amy Winehouse had a wonderful voice, and it did get me interested in her music, so that's, I know it's gotta count for something. I totally understand if you think this is insanely offensive, so you know what? That's just my opinion. I hated this movie, but that last race was so good, guys. I was feeling it. And then went back to bullshit. I definitely did not enjoy like any of the second family drama. I thought that was so bad. It was so dumb. But that race was actually really good. I mean, like, I've seen Rush, I've seen Gran Turismo, and like, those are kind of whatever. I think like out of any racing film that I have seen, which is like 5 if we're being honest with each other. This is probably like the best actual race I've seen, but everything else was just so lame. I don't give a shit about Adam Driver or Second Family. I don't care about that chick from Divergent. I don't even care about Salma Hayek anymore. Like, for fuck's sake, just get to the race part. There's not enough Jack in this. He's in it for 5 minutes. I don't know. Whatever. For being so fucking difficult to get a hold of, good god, this wasn't really worth all that. The monologues were really well acted, but it's so boring. I feel like this is the thing that your teacher would put on to discuss like issues in the Iraq War, and then she'd pause after every single monologue and like dissect it, and you'd have to like write an essay about it. That's like the best compliment I can give this. This feels like something that would be shown in class, despite it being rated R, or I guess 18, because it was only released in the UK. I mean, Jack does the best performance out of everybody here, but overall it's just kind of a movie. But now we are officially leaving the films that I didn't really care for, and we are now entering into the films that I actually liked. I'm kind of surprised this was as low as it was, because you know what, I genuinely did like this movie, but I think that like if you are not a big horror fan, if you're not like a big gore fan, you're not really gonna enjoy this all that much. The ending is what definitely gives it a lot more points. I think even people who don't like horror films would say, oh, at least that ending really stuck out. And I mean, Jack's performance is great. I didn't like seeing a dog die, but I wouldn't mind putting this movie back on. I'd skip the dog dying part, and if you like gore, if you like horror, you might like this one, okay. I am just as shocked as you are. How the hell did this get so high? After knowing that it's a Little Red Riding Hood metaphor or like parallel, I actually really liked it. I kind of really enjoyed this. I like taking classic stories and making them scary and making them a new version. I don't really understand what the ending means. Like, I don't really know like what these cultist people around this fire were all about. For Jack's first short film, it's pretty decent. And again, like the gore is actually really good for a film of that tiny budget. So hey, you know, keep making stuff. I think this is a controversial opinion because a lot of people like this. My issue with it is that like I didn't really care too much about anybody, not even Jack's character. I think it was just the rat tail threw me off. Good god, that's an ugly ass haircut. The brother's kind of a dick, but I think that's the point. I think you're not supposed to really like him all that much, but like I think it's about sacrifice and understanding that you can't push people around because that's what you want. Like the brother really does care. Like he'll make sure that Lion gets fed and Lion has a bed, and he'll like skip meals himself and sleep on the floor. But I think at the end of the day, like the biggest issue with this movie is just like I didn't really care for anybody. I don't know, I kind of thought there'd be more fighting in this, as weird as that is. I don't even like boxing, but like I figured there'd be at least a couple more punches thrown around, you know. Despite everybody hating working on this, like everybody fucking hated it so much, I actually really enjoyed this one. And I know I made a quick joke of it in the recap segment, but I did like the original 300 as well. I do think the original 300 is better, but I do enjoy this film more, and I think that's because of the villain character. I didn't really care too much for the Persian God King in the original. Like I thought he was kind of kooky, but I think Eva Green does the villain job a lot better. I also like Jack O'Connell because he's hot. For the most part, this at least felt a little more human, if that makes sense. Like there was a little bit more on the bonds between people, and I think that was kind of the point of the original, is that like they don't show like affection, they don't show love, but like as an audience member, like I kind of wish they were more than just like gym bros, if that makes sense. If they seemed like they actually gave a shit about everybody else. So yeah, that's my opinion on this. I actually did enjoy this one. This was a good movie as well. I didn't know anything about the real life story, so this was a good way to introduce that to me. I really loved Jack's acting in this one. Like he did a great job. This was his first time being able to like show a lot more emotion, so that's great. I love seeing that. I do get a kick out of the ending with how abrupt it is. That was really funny. It wasn't intended to be funny, but my sense of humor is broken, okay? It's not perfect. It's got a lot of problems. Like again, like the crash build up was so ridiculous, but I think what really brings it up is just the amount of emotions that all the characters have. And again, like letting your male characters bawl their eyes out. I love seeing that. That's really good. I need some of that sometimes. Like can definitely see myself like sitting down with my dad to watch this kind of movie. This feels like a movie for like you and your dad to go watch. I love Michael Caine. He's such a good actor. I love seeing all these Game of Thrones actors in here. I like Jack's performance as Marky. He should have lived. I will still be sad about him not surviving. But Harry Brown was really good. I enjoyed this, and it's a lot of fun to see this old guy kick the shit out of some teenagers. Now, I know I trashed this a bit in my ranking. Aside from the parts that just focus on the Nazis, I liked this one. I really did. I enjoyed Jack's character, his funny little Czech accent. It reminds me of Victor from Arcane. That ending, man, that ending got me choked up. And I gotta give the film credit if it made me cry. I think it was overly long. Again, like cut out some of that fat in the beginning, cut out some of that first 45 minutes, and this would have been a lot better. Now, I did actually just rewatch this because I wanted to get a better opinion for this ranking bit. I actually re-recorded this whole thing, and I have no new opinions. My opinion is exactly the same as when I watched it for the first time. I don't get it. First 2/3 are really good. The last third is, what the fuck, man? Oh god. I feel like I'm one of the only people that really thinks the film was brought down by that third act. But again, you know, I'm happy to be the outlier sometimes. Somebody's got to have a different opinion, and somebody like myself who has the objectively correct opinion will have this different opinion, and I will wear it like a fucking badge of honor. So it's okay. I mean, for a film that was made entirely using iPhones, that's actually pretty impressive for what they were able to do. The zombies can put their dicks away now. Okay, next up. Anyway, I had to call my dad to have him explain me the stock stuff, but aside from that, I liked this. I did not expect that third act. That third act was so good. It was so heart-pumping. Out of all like the action scenes that are in these Jack O'Connell movies, this third act is definitely like top 5, without a doubt. I loved the way the direction of this went, and I was sobbing at the end. It's really weird to admit, but Money Monster, starring George Clooney and Julia Roberts, got me to cry. Hallelujah. It was also surprisingly hilarious, the amount of quips that went back and forth to this. I think this movie is actually really slept on. It's genuinely pretty good. If you're looking for like some heart-pounding action and corrupt CEOs, then here you go. Take this movie. Can I just say that the intimacy coordinator needs a raise because, oh, lordy. This is a really good movie. I do like the feminist messages that come forward, and yeah, it's kind of just smut at the end of the day, but I'm sorry, these two are really cute. They have great chemistry. Emma and Jack do such a good job on set. I can feel like this love that's between these two characters, especially towards the end, once those scenes all stop. The overall message of this being a love story, that's what it is, true and simple. It is a love story. I love that. I genuinely really do like this one. And, you know, don't watch this with your parents, but if you are looking for some cute romance with, you know, a couple scenes that you can just scroll Twitter at, definitely check this one out. This was a couple places up, and then I decided to move it down after thinking about it a little bit more. What really brought this up so much was a certain line in the short. Roll the clip.
Wir sitzen doch alle im gleichen Boot hier.
Private, what did he say?
He said every soldier wants the same thing.
Jeder Soldat wünscht es sich, seine Familie wiederzusehen.
He said every soldier wishes to see his family again.
And he's right.
Yeah, that quote really got to me for some reason. I didn't really know how to feel about it at the time, but I kind of sat there after the short finished. I'm like, okay, you know, it actually did have something to say. Okay, cool. Again, like these war films are surprisingly making it relatively high on the list. But yeah, I like this one. It's short and sweet, gets to the point. It's got a hard hitter ending, so R.I.P. Private Charlie. Wait, is that the second time that Jack has played a soldier named Charlie? This was originally swapped with Shelter, but I decided to move it up a little bit just because of how kind of like bittersweet it is in a weird way, but also kind of hopeful at the end of the day. I do love that ending. I just really like how Victor was able to remind himself that he's got it. Jack was great in this. I mean, playing a delinquent as usually expected, but he did get his ass kicked by an old guy. So that's 2 nickels. Dr. Doofenshmirtz, please pay up. Here we're getting to the movies that I liked a lot. I adored Tower Block. If we're ranking this based on favorites, this would probably be in top 5, but I'm moving this down because objective quality. There are films that were made better, okay? I love when characters that are just genuinely bad people become good people throughout the events of the story, and I love stories of people having to survive in a situation. Like films that take place in like a day or two, so good, so good. I can feel that tension, I can feel that fear. Ah, it's amazing. That Wilhelm scream did bring it down quite a bit, I will have to admit, but everything else about it was really good. I was so happy. I literally came upstairs and just blabbed to my mom about this movie for like 10 minutes after I finished watching it. I'm like, you don't understand, this was a breath of fresh air. I loved this so much. I mean, fucking anything would be better after watching like The Runaway or some shit. Home was really good, and I believe it's meant to be refugee metaphor, not immigration metaphor. Stupid past Snowy. The acting in this one is so good. Again, especially from those kid actors. I don't know what they did to make that toddler scream the way she did on set, but good fucking God. The intensity of that Warzone segment is sticking with me. That's been in my head for days. I do like also the way the color palette kind of accentuates a lot of the characters' features in this. That might sound kind of weird, but like Jack and Holly's eyes just kind of glow, if that makes sense. It looks really, really good. I can't really explain why, but just this film is very aesthetically pleasing despite how much shit is going on. I like it. I really did enjoy this one. I'm gonna stand by that this is Jack's best acting performance that I have seen. There's ones that I like better, obviously, but this is his best acting chops because holy shit, especially in that last scene, the way that he's able to bring these emotions up are so good. And this was still in his like alcohol partying era too, so he had those chops the whole time. Didn't take Angelina Jolie to bring them out, okay? The dialogue flows so naturally, so well. I mean, they do use the word fuck like every 3 words. I'm not even kidding. There's so many lines that are just like a string of obscenities. Like, whoo, you gotta wash your mouth out with soap there, buddy. You also get way too much eyeful of Jack O'Connell in this movie, because like, oh boy. But a really good film. Might be surprised that it's down so low, but I think that's just because I really enjoyed him on the boat more than actually in the camps, if that makes sense. Again, I think it's just like the survivors in a weird situation. Life of Pi was one of my favorite movies growing up, so maybe that's why I liked the boat segment, but I think it's also just that he had people to play off of in those scenes. Like he had his friends versus at the camps, it was kind of just him and the bird, and like the bird was the antagonist, so like you couldn't really play off of him, if that makes sense. But overall, this was really, really good. The acting was phenomenal. I'm so happy that Jack was able to get out of that shitty rut that he was in, and we get black-haired Jack O'Connell again, which, you know, I am never gonna complain about that. So really good, really great. 71 was so good because of how intense it felt. I didn't know the historical context. I was browsing Wikipedia, but I would keep pausing reading the article because I would look up and just be in shock of what was going on. I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, you gotta run, run, buddy, run! You're just praying that the pretty boy makes it home okay, get him safely home. The side characters were so much in this. I had no idea who anybody was, what team they were on, why are we avoiding people that look identical to the people that were already on our team? What is the double cross? Oh, you're double crossing us? I thought you weren't on our team. What is this? What do you mean we like each other? It was chaos, but just following Jack, just following Gary Hook, so good, so great. Again, acting chops, fantastic. And the dedication to jump right into this after filming startup, like 2 weeks of break. Holy moly, dude. Great job. Given some time, I actually have come around to say I enjoyed the show personally. Back when I did my recap, I was like, you know, it's not my cup of tea, but it's a good series. And I'm like, no, it's a good series, and I really enjoyed it. I don't really care for Colin Farrell's character too much. That's kind of the only nitpick I have, and I mean also that it kind of took a while to get started. But overall, fantastic, really good.
Pull back your foreskin, please, Mr. Drax.
Number Number 5 is Trial by Fire, and this is the film that I watched on Jack O'Connell's birthday and cried my eyes out as he died on screen. Holy boy. For a film that gets me really interested in a subject that I didn't really have a lot of, passion about, damn, that's gotta count for something. The sheer amount of emotions that Jack gets to go through, his relationship with Elizabeth is so good. Prison films are really slept on. I mean that. There's so much potential to have in stories about people in prison. I really enjoy that. And you don't get a lot of films about people on death row either. It's usually like, oh, I'm gonna get out in X amount of years. No, people on death row. That's an interesting concept to do. And especially like somebody who is innocent about that. I mean, again, like Criminal Minds hyperfixation coming in here, but like there's that one episode of Criminal Minds about the lady on death row. Like that's one of the best episodes because it's such a good concept. It's such a good story. Green Mile, again, so good. You need more films like this. Number 4, Robot and Scarecrow. Haha, we're all crying today. Robot and Scarecrow, so good for just how short it was. Hits you right in the feels. You're feeling all those kinds of emotions. And that final quote, along with the dedication, sealed the deal for me. I've lost people in my life. I'm sure you've lost people in your life. Knowing that you still can go on, you still can keep walking, even though you're gonna feel them forever. You're gonna feel them missing in your heart. Ooh, that was such a great way to show it. It's also very interesting that the actress who plays the robot is the same person who plays Jack's paramour in Home as well as Tulip Fever. Just, okay, I guess they've got great chemistry. But yeah, I liked this one, and if you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. What the f*** are you doing? I didn't know a lot about the context of this going on in the UK, but that's what movies are for. They're to educate and to show a different side. And I think as of right now, where we are in society, you need this kind of film more than ever, man. You need to talk about this kind of stuff. Slippery Slopes. Holy hell. It's amazing just how well it was able to portray just how you can get dragged down to this level of hatred for other people by just starts so innocently, And that's why I think this film is so important, just to show how quickly things can spiral. You need to see this kind of film. This film needs to be shown to all people. I mean, peer pressure is a thing. Props to the director for being able to tell the story, because holy hell, I imagine a lot of that would be pretty terrible looking back retrospect on your life and seeing like, oh shit, that's the stuff I did. But, it's great. It's really good. Get Pukey Nichols a fucking toupee. Dear God, what does that look, Jack? Incredible film. So much is brought to the table. I genuinely think that I might have cried more at this film than I've cried at any other movie. Just the idea of this kind of dementia thing just hitting so many people all at once and them trying so hard to hold on to that. Oh God. Especially when you watch this a second time, you catch up on all the things that you've missed before. And it's like, oh my God, how did I not see that? And with the reveal at the end, like it's, oh my God, how did I not see that? How did I not know that? And it makes everything hit so much harder, so much more intense. Dear Lord, this is such a good movie. I believe it's free on Tubi if you want to watch it, but I will let you know, please bring tissues. You will want to call up all of your family members and tell them how much you love them, because life is so short, man. You never know when those memories are going to be gone. Oof, it's a great movie, great COVID metaphor, great everything. Just, ugh. And don't worry, guys, there's absolutely no bias at all I have towards this movie. Literally, there's nothing at all that could possibly.
This is his hottest in the movie. I will die on this hill. Something about a man crossing his legs. Swear to God, him scratching my hair with these. Why is there a male reader fanfic of Remmick? He's my husband now. Get in line. He's hot in that image though. Can I put my face in that blood on his neck and feel his stubble on the top of my head? He's like a sad wet dog. The necklace, put those arms around me, bro. That's miring now. Can he touch my lips like that? Can he climb on me like that too? I see you. Let me lick him. Happy lol vampire. Let me snuggle him. Can I borrow your shirt please? It's for science and no other reason. What a pathetic fucking loser. I need to sit on his lap. Him hair wet. Can I rest my chin on it please? Excuse me sir, those lips are looking unkissed. Might I offer my assistance in the these trying times do you do birthday parties? My birthday is coming up. Can you be my entertainment? All you have to do is let me look at you and maybe climb on top of you for a little while. I showed this particular gif to my therapist as an example of the hot Irish vampire from the movie I like, and she just kinda what? You can bite me as hard as you want, sir. Put the arms around my shoulders and lean on my head, sir. I can't explain it, but his hand looks soft. Does he moisturize, and can he moisturize me? How big is Remmick? Sass the ever kind and informative Jack O'Connell. Delta Slim, I know he's hot but he's mine. Please avert your eyes. The open shirt, I'm going to die. Give Emmy your chest required. Give it to my face. Why is the pinnacle of attraction for me to just either lick or put my face in something other than the hashtag no square? Can I clean you up with my tongue?
Wait, I gotta talk about the actual movie now. For fuck's sake.
So yes, I have seen this film 17 times. Actually, as a celebration of taking this video, which took 4 months to make, I am gonna sit down, I'm gonna watch Sinners as soon as this video is uploaded. If you're watching this just as this first came up, I am currently watching Sinners, so howdy, hi, hunt the hare and turn it down the rocky road and all the way to Dublin Rock Palalira. Sinners made me believe in the magic movie making again. It's what genuinely got me up and saying like, oh fuck, I haven't watched a lot of movies in a while. I probably should do that. I like movies. I forgot that I like movies. I have been blaring the soundtrack constantly. Every single song in the soundtrack, every single one, been listening to them like crazy. Travelin', so good. Pale Moon, so good. Rocky Road to Dublin, obviously, so good. I Lied to You is a masterpiece. It is an ethereal experience. I could just feel myself like levitating out of my chair every time that scene comes on. And there's so much more to it. So many little hidden details just thrown at you everywhere, like the relationship between the Irish and the Choctaw, how Irish people would have felt back then, what Remmick's whole plan was. And that's just with that side. There's more with the outfits that Smoke and Stack wear, having relating to the Irish and Italian mafia and mob, how one girl's expression can sell everything about who these twins are. This is so good. There is so much to read into this. Please check out some videos on Sinners if you've seen the film, and if you haven't, fucking watch it right now before I kill you. So please watch some analyses on the film. There's so much more to learn about. There's so much more to hear about, and I'm so thankful that Ryan has said there's not going to be a sequel, because I think this film should be left alone. Don't touch it. Leave it alone. Sinners is so good. Such a masterpiece. You'll love to see it. And it is Jack O'Connell's best film that he is in, and he's pretty prominently featured. He's the bad guy. Love you, Jack. Thanks so much for watching my video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a fun comment. I'll try to respond to as many as I can. With all that said and done, I'll see you in the next one, and spoiler alert, my friend and I are about to watch the entirety of Stranger Things for the first time, because final season's coming out. Totally didn't just tease the next video right there. I guess you'll have to stay tuned for that. Thank you so much, Jack O'Connell, for being a hot bastard, and yeah, that's kind of it. Bye!